There you go. I was saying hi to everyone and not getting any, and I noticed, oh, my sound is not on. All right. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So, everyone in. There we go. Letting everyone in.
Morning.
Morning, everyone. I've been having a very unhappy computer for the past 2 or 3 days. It's I really don't know what's up.
My Adobe teacher, my other teacher, he was also.
Okay, who's
Maybe it's
that?
Cox.
Who's that?
Bruce.
Bruce?
Bruce Burke. Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, the last 2 days have been miserable. Not only dropping out, not Zoom. Zoom hasn't dropped off, but my Connect. The other day I was working at night doing some grading for one of my credit classes, and I do a lot of work at night. And Cox decided to just not exist between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. And I was desperate because I had to teach at 9 a.m. and I kept checking, like, am I going to have a class?
Mm-hmm.
And it came back, but it was just decided to completely be gone.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah, not this 7 a.m., but yesterday's 7 a.m. So
yeah, his was not working either.
Oh,
it must have been Cox. Yeah,
okay.
He was freaking too for his class.
I know. I'm like, ah.
All right.
Okay, well, that at least lets me know it was a systemic thing. But then on and off, it's been really spotty. It's been really spotty and slow. So anyway, but Zoom's worked fine. Yesterday, I had 7 hours between meetings and classes, and so hopefully that won't be an issue. All right. So welcome everyone to class. If you are in VDI, remember to go in and sign out and sign in again. If you didn't sign out on the way out, then please sign out and sign in again to your Google Drive file stream. I was talking to some tech support people today, and they actually had one more new thing they've found out from the tutorial, the tutors at the labs that help people out have discovered that there's a way to sign out that actually helps promote signing in correctly the next time, which is actually logging out of VDI and logging out then first logging out of the student desktop and then logging out of the VDI, which I've never done. We just kind of close it. But they said that it creates a more stable connection. So maybe at the end, anyone who is on VDI, I can, it would be good if my hair was not in my ear and I could hear you better. I can lead you through that. So anyway, thank you everyone for sending me a lot of your work. Is everyone in by now? Yeah. People missing, go into your chat and give a little hello. All right. So, oh, Mira, you're here. I just got a message that you joined the Photoshop class, but there you go. You're in the right one now. You're an Illustrator. I did that. Was it the second day or the first day that I was hanging out in the Photoshop class waiting for you guys? Anyway, yeah, I just got a little Mira. Well, I joined your Photoshop.
I did sign in Illustrator first, but it didn't allow me in. So I thought maybe I was clicking at the wrong class.
Anyway. All right. So guys, today we're gonna, keep working with stuff that we've been doing. We're gonna keep moving forward with creating new shapes And we're going to begin to create, up to now, we've been working with completely new shapes. And then last class, we started joining them to create new stuff. Today, we're going to work much more with starting, not only distorting them much more, so really completely new shapes, but also, hold on, here we go. Creating absolutely new stuff with the tools where you can actually draw and make things happen. I'm looking at the calendar for a second. I'm freaked out. Thanksgiving is not next weekend, is it? No, phew. Okay. So next Friday, we still have class. And then the following is this 27th. That day we do not have class. That is Thanksgiving. And then we have class again, December 4th and December 11th. Okay. I just, for a moment, I thought, oh my God, it's next week. And I had to look at the calendar. No, we're fine. Next week is the 20th. So we have 4 classes to go and 1 day. So 5 weeks, but 4 classes. Okay. I just had to double check on that because I went into, I can't believe it's already Thanksgiving. And fortunately, I was believing wrongly. It was not. All right. So I'm sharing my screen so that we can start. Oh, before I share my screen, any questions about anything you've been doing? Some of you guys have been sending your stuff to me. Again, I mean, most of you guys have been sending the stuff that you're doing in class. A few of you guys are sending extra things. So thank you so much. I really enjoy seeing your work. I'm finding that I'm going to create a folder. It occurred to me I can create another shared folder where you guys can put your stuff instead of emailing it to me. I was having you email it to me, but I get hundreds of emails a day. And like some of you send it right after class. And so I have a little group of classes, but others keep coming in and I get so many emails that it's hard to go in there and then just find the Illustrator ones because it's not like I can even search for a person or for a title of a subject because everyone calls it differently. So what's happening, it's harder to keep track of all the work you're sharing during the day. So I'm going to create a folder that I want everyone to put their stuff in. As much as there's a folder we take our stuff out, why don't you put your stuff in there at the end of class? Which,
Excuse me, Deanna.
yes.
Can you adjust your screen because you're like half, your face is only half. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Was it hard? Was it hard to watch me speaking at half screen?
Yes.
I apologize. Since I'm mainly looking at the other screen, I have a hard time remembering to pay my little box. Well, I have this little camera is kind of in the middle. It's weird. I have a little floating webcam that I switch from screen to screen. Anyway.
Okay, got it.
So any questions, you guys? I was saying that I like the stuff you're sharing with me. I want you to share more stuff, and I'm going to give you a folder. I'm going to create it after class, and I'm going to send you a link, and then you can put all the stuff that you guys are doing in there. So I just wanted to say that to you guys. And other than that, let me let Sam in. Any questions about any features you tried to use that we've been playing with? Anyone play some more with joining objects or joining paths, which I showed at the very end of last as an example, with the lines? Nothing, no questions. Nada.
Always questions.
Always questions. Well, if you have something you've done or tried out and you have questions, this is the time to ask. But if there's nothing there, I will share. Here we go, sharing my screen. And so let's start again with a new create new. We're going to go again to our good old 5x5s at this point. When you just try to create new, everyone who's been here has, unless you've created something different in between, then your new is shaped like whatever different you've created in between. But if you haven't created your own new files, then that basic custom that you land in is a 5x5 inch, and that's a great starter. And it's always a print version, so it comes in high res. So we're going to say create. And I forget, I need to make this window a bit smaller to make it easier for you guys to do the same at home. There we go. I have to say that if you're going to really be into this design thing, you have to look into getting, and you have a laptop, then you have to look into getting a desktop monitor. Just, you know, you can get a new one, a fancy one, a cheap one at a thrift store, but just something that's big that you can connect your laptop to. I'm about to sneeze. I've been about to sneeze for like a couple of minutes now, and it's very uncomfortable. I'm sorry if you see me like, meh. Can't sneeze, but can't get rid of it either. Because having some space to put your tools and your material is really important for design. So it can be a really cheap process, and then just a cable to your laptop for whenever you're sitting at home or in a place where you can do that. What's that, Mira?
So how recent the screen has to be? Monitor.
Well, I mean, not the big old fat guys. Most computers won't connect to that anymore, but oh my good Pilar, you are like warming my heart. Are you having mate? Like Pilar is having suddenly throwback to Argentina. My family, she's having mate, which is, you know, I don't know if you guys know it, but from Argentina, and everyone has mate in the mornings, and there she's sipping her mate. Suddenly it felt like I was talking to my aunt or someone at home. Anyway, sorry, just a little throwback. Monitors can be just about anything that you go to a thrift store right now and see works. When the important thing is that you have the right cable to connect it. So go see what kind of cable connections you have. The newest, most fancy Mac laptops come with ports that nothing other than a Mac monitor would connect to. So you need to get the right transformer, you know, the adapters for the cables. But other than that, you can probably plug in anything. I've never been concerned. I just go and get something that looks like it's kind of in good shape and plug it in, and it always works. So I'm not being very technical, am I? So just as long as it's one of those thinners, you know, sometimes you still see a big of those big fat CRTs. You don't want those, but should be fine. What I like to do is, especially in Photoshop, I have my tools on one monitor, a really cheapo old monitor. It's just to hold all my stuff and my tools, and the other one can just be my image, you know? Here we have to have everything in one, and it becomes very hard. And what I mean by that, like you can disconnect this tab here, and you can see separate the image. And once you do that, then this can be in one monitor, which I can't move right now, or you won't see. And then you can collapse the tools in another one, and then you can really have space for your stuff, for your art. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, so a real quick pass through objects or shapes that are not closed shapes. Okay, so we've been visiting all of these shapes here, but under the line tool the other day, I had us do a little line or two, but there's a couple of other tools here that have different shapes. I'm going to give a different color to my stroke, so it's not good old black. I'm going to give it a bright pink, and I'm going to give it, make my stroke 3 or so points so you can see it a bit better. And then I'm going to go and choose, well, for a second, the line segment tool. Sorry, again, I just clicked instead of clicking and drawing, which when you do that, unless you purposely were doing that, then say cancel. So you can make a line, a straight line of any kind, but most of the times when you make a line is because you want it to be in a particular place. So remember that if you're trying to make a straight line and it's almost straight, but not totally straight, you can hit your shift key. So it really becomes a straight line. Okay. And same with vertical, and same with a 45 degree. You just kind of hit the shift key and it forces it to stay there. Obviously, there's not much drawing that's ever going to be done with a straight line, but many times you do need straight lines for things. So don't forget the power of the shift key to really get it to be where you want it to be. Other than that, when it's being drawn, it looks kind of like jaggedy. So even if it looks like it's a bit jaggedy, once you let go, that's gonna turn it into a pretty straight line. Now, the one under that, the arc tool, is a interesting tool because when you go and draw, it kind of comes out with this, like I'm just not like letting go yet, right? And it'll make any kind of little arc until I stop, right? But then remember the good old keys, Command or Option Control or Option force it into doing different things as well. Okay, so right now I'm changing the position with the Option key. Okay, so I'm just trying what all these different keys allow me to do. Anyway, so I'm going to let go right now at that point, and I've got this little arc, so I don't have to do a whole full circle. Okay, and you get to have a different kind of arc. And then with the arrows, you can make it upper arrow, a much more acute kind of arc, or with the lower arrow, almost a straight little arc. Okay, so your arrow keys, again, which were giving us more or less star tips, are the ones that give us a much more sharply shaped corner or a much almost straight line but corner kind of line. Okay, and then the next one you try to make will again be like the first one, just like the stars. So you have to kind of be changing it. That's with the upper or lower arrow keys that I'm changing the angle of my and it can go all the way till it's really almost like a deep elbow. Okay, all right, so those are other tools that you have. And remember that if you grab the move tool now and put these together, you can join the tips of one path to the other to make another shape. So I'm going to join the tip of this one to that one, and this one to that one. And then with the join paths tool, I can make that be a line, right? So right now they're not. Right now they're three. This is very clear, right? These are three separate objects right now. It would take somebody putting these together to create one line, right? So for that, select all the ones that you want to make one line. I want to make these 4 one line. Okay, so I would go over here. So this is just a bit of a review of what we did the other day. And then you can go into the, where is it? Where's the join tool here? Go into this, it looks like a circle and a pencil, which is the shaper tool. And way down at the bottom, you have the join tool. And that's where you can click and join these lines. And when you let go, these have become one line. They're not now individual creatures. They are one line. Okay. So I just want to make sure everyone was able to see what I did, because I showed that really quickly based on a question that Leland had last week. So I made 4 or 5 different lines here. I selected them all. Remember, the key for the joining tools is always to select them all. And then you connect one to the other with the join tool. If you tried it and it's not working, let me know. Other than that, I'll move on to other tools. How's it going? So
I have to try it. I'm trying to do it.
Okay, so grab 2 lines, put them together. Now, the thing is that these, I've joined them at the tips right there. When you have 2 lines that are, let me put these 2. Let me get closer to these 2. When you have 2 lines that are not, trying to get the, I every time I start VDI, I want to do command everything, and then I have to remember that I need to go to to my selection tool instead. Okay. So if you try to select two lines that are not tip to tip, right? Like these two. I can't do this. I have to zoom down to get my tools. Sorry. I'm trying to show it to you bigger, but it becomes harder.
Wait, what tool are you using to select the tools? Just clicking on it?
Yeah, the selection is always going to be the black selection tool to just
Oh, right.
select stuff.
Okay.
Always, right? So right now I was showing you with tools that are, I put the lines tip to tip. When you have two lines that are not tip to tip, so let me now make this bigger this way to see if I can. That's a better way to show you things bigger. Will I still see my tools? Okay, so if I try to join, these two are not connected now. Okay, these are two separate lines. If I make them touch right now, and I select both of them, and I try to join them now, right? And I do this thing where I join them in the corner where they touch, it doesn't give me two lines connected within the middle. You can't interact into the center like that, okay? It just changed the shape of it. It joins it, but it cuts it off. You see what I'm trying to say? So when you try to join two lines, you can join them by their fragments at the end, and then they join. If you do these two lines, they do fine. You join them here, and you get one new shape. See that?
Yes.
But it does not work if you are trying to join them in a place that's not their originating anchor point. You have these two lines and you want to join them here, and you can't use that, because when you do join them, it has to get rid of one or the other. So in this case, it just gets rid of that tip.
So how would you join it to make the T then?
You have to actually create a whole new shape with more like a compound path kind of shape, if you don't want any of the lines to disappear. So we'll get into that. I was just showing you the limitations. So let me actually back out now. So that is just a little sample of lines up there where you joined a bench tip to tip. But when I tried to join one into the middle, it didn't work. Okay, it doesn't do that. It created a whole new corner. All right, so now how do we create stuff outside? Oh, hold on really quickly. These two are kind of fun, and they work for some things. They're not as, there's not that many times that you'll need them, but when you need them, they really work. So the spiral tool, I'm gonna start drawing a spiral. Pretty cool.
Really
When I
cool.
let go, there's my spiral, right? But how many spirals that look just like that do you ever need? So to make a spiral and change it again, just like the star, before I let go, now I can start changing things, such as I can add, I'm going to make it much bigger, and I can add more little, right, with the upper arrow. Right now I am adding, oh, Ali needs to be let in, but my mouse is busy. I can add, or I can take away. Hold on, I need to let go of my mouse because I need to let her in. So that's where I left it. So let me undo that one and try a new one. Okay, I had to start again because I had to let go of my mouse to let another person to come in. So here we go. Let me move this out of the way. There she's joining. She's tried to join a few times. Okay, so back to this thing. I'm gonna give it less, a bit less stroke, maybe 1 point, or hold on, a 1 point stroke. Wow, what's happening with Ali? She keeps trying to come in. Oh, there she's finally in. Her connection must not be good. All right. All right. So when I make this spiral, I can take away the corners to it. So now I'm using the low down arrow, see, or the up arrow to add more little segments to it. See, down arrow, in a way, or up arrow to add more. Okay. On top of that, and I'm gonna add, oh wow, every time Every time Ali tries to come in, my whole thing disconnects. Weird.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have to let go of it again. Once you let go of it, you're kind of stuck with it. So you need to make a new one, right? So here, here I go. I'm making this object now. And now with the command key, I can, no, sorry, with the option or alt, I can change the openness of the twirl. See how I'm making it a really tight twirl now, or not? Let me add more corners to it. Let me add more curls to it. Okay. So you guys are not seeing it, but every time I'm trying to do my cursor, I get a Ali Smith is in the waiting room. And every time the Ali Smith waiting room pops up, my tool stops working. I don't know what's happening. Ali, are you there with one of your computers? Because I see you with one of them. But the other one, every time it comes in, my whole VDI just unblocks. How weird. That had not happened before.
I don't like these.
And now. And I keep admitting there's another person trying to come in. And every time I admit, everyone's being kicked out right now. I'm admitting them, but they're popping out. Sorry, guys, this is a Zoom thing, not an Illustrator thing that I'm trying to handle. All right, well, there you go. Hi, Lydia. And Ali, can you hear me now?
Yeah, hi, sorry, I'm late, sorry.
No, that's okay. And Ali, are you there now, or? I don't know what happened with Ali. Okay, but all right. So what I was saying is that you can modify. So I've been playing around now that I can finally make it work again. I'm playing around with the keys here to my left to give it more or less. I'm gonna delete that one because it's too big. So to give it more or less, how do you call it? Curls. Okay, so this is my control or a command key for Mac people, and the alt key to make a different kind of spiral. So the thing is with this spiral, with any of these shapes, they're open size shapes. So I've been telling you to only give them strokes, right? But you could fill them. If you decide to fill them though, it's kind of a fake because there's no way, they're not closed. So how far does the fill go, right? So I'm going to select this one and add a fill to it. And if I add a fill to it, at some point, it just draws an artificial kind of line where the fill stops. And that is always a bit weird because you don't have a choice of where that's going to. So in general, you wouldn't be filling these shapes because you have no control. See, it's just an arbitrary line where the fill stopped, but it is possible to fill them. But for the most part, when you do these, you do them not to fill them, but to be lines. And then the last one that I'm going to show you, that both the rectangular and the polar grid tool work the same way. I'm going to start drawing a grid. And this is really cool when you have a grid that you know you need a particular, many times you need grid patterns for stuff. And you start drawing it out. This is Jan Basic Grid. So if I let go, that's the grid I'm stuck with. I'm going to undo that. And what I can do as I'm drawing it, I can decide again to make more rows. Right now I'm adding with the upper arrow or less rows. And this time it's the side arrows. Okay. So if I want a table, now the side arrows give me more rows or columns or less columns. Okay. So now this time the side arrows come in. The rows or columns of however many I want to add. So I can make myself have like, a tic-tac-toe kind of game thing, or just columns or just rows, and they'll always be within that grid. Once you're done adding as many columns as you want or as many rows as you want, I will have a much tighter pattern. Then one other thing that can happen is that I can skew them. So now I can go to my control, to my
Transform.
V, the V for V of the letter V for like vase, the same one that we choose to do the tools for, so basically if you go to your keyboard, you'll have the D, the V for V, the V tool, the one that we go for the tool is skewing my lines, my rows, so to say, to one side, and then the F for friendship above brings them back out, and like, see how they're skewing upwards, like for perspective, and then in that direction with the F key, it goes the other way. Okay, so this is the V and the F key, or the C moves them to one side, and the X key moves them to the left. Okay, so now I'm moving them that way. So basically it's V, C, X, and F. I can show you my key. So basically these are these three keys, V, C, X, and F. Okay, so the F is giving it up. These are the up and down for the rows, up and down, skewing one way or the other. And then C to the right and X to the left. Okay, so these are all the keys that I'm playing with. And then plus and minus arrows, rows with the right and left keys. Okay, so all of that to get you the actual grid that you want. And when you're done, you let go. All right, so
Diana?
now I've messed up. You have to tell me again if it sits in the center. There. Yeah.
So if you let go of mouse before you're done, you have to redo it, everything?
Yeah, because
Ooh.
this, if you notice, this is actually a shape that someone was, when we were saying these lines aren't, individual lines. These are, each one of these lines is part of that shape. If I try to pick up just this one line and move it, I'm moving the whole thing. All right. It's grouped, and in reality, they are individual lines that you can work with. Today, we're going to turn into, we're going to talk about groupings. I'll show you in a minute. So you can actually separate these lines, but right now, the idea of this shape is that you don't want to separate them because you want to make them be symmetrical in one or another. You want them to be the right distance, and this is accounting it for you. If you now grab this line and move it yourself, it'll be off, which you can. I'll show you in a minute. But for the most part, the idea of this tool is that you want to create a shape, and you can begin to then distort, and this can be the tile of a kitchen floor that you're playing with, and then you end up distorting the corners and you push everything out and stuff like that. So you can see how I'm doing that. I'll show you in a minute about that. But first, right now, you have to assume that the idea is that this shape is one shape, because otherwise you might have to always build it, right? And so the whole point of building it this way isn't that you're putting a whole bunch of lines together, is that you're really trying to create a grid without having to mathematically calculate and build it yourself. All right. So we'll get into how to modify it in a second, because it's part of the class for today. You know how the other day we did compound shapes. So we're going to be doing compound shapes and groups today. So this is an example of group. But I wanted to show you the last one really quickly, which is the polar grid tool, which again, just like what I just showed you. First of all, it's an ellipsis. So if you want it to be perfectly circular, you have to go down the shift key, right? For it to be a perfect circle. And if you don't want it to be a perfect circle, that's fine. But once you hold down the shift key for it to be a perfect circle, then you have the same exact set of up and down to make it be more lines, down arrow to make it be less lines, and right arrow to have it have more, slices to the pie, and up arrow to have less slices to the pie. And then your control key, your V and C tools and F and Z to skew those to the center. So this the C, V, X, and F allow you to give some perspective to your grid or to your polar circle. Now these can be filled because they do have a very distinct in and out. Okay, so both of these can be filled if you want them to be filled. Well, that color to show the differences. So there you go. Okay, now there's some exercises that we can make shapes and designs with these, but for the most part, I'm gonna move on, let you guys know that these exist as bases for basic shapes when you want symmetrical patterns to start with. Maybe you can draw a grid that you leave as a pattern that you then work with, and then you just you get rid of the grid and you can use that. You can individually decide to take some of these pieces on and off and stuff like that. For right now, let's make a new page unless you have any questions about these shapes. Remember, by the way, when one of the shapes goes crazy, say that you're trying to do a spiral and it completely lost its shape or its pole, or like any of these things, just by the time you try to do them again, they've gone berserk. The solution is always to single click one time, you bring it back and you give it a number here that looks a little bit more logical. Oh, and by the way, here you can choose to change the spiral to go in the opposite direction, right? But you can also go back and say, okay, I want a spiral with only, 15 segments, and you say return, and then you have something, because sometimes just like the star, this can turn out to be something that's really confusing. And so it's always a good thing to remember that clicking gives you a solution to that. Another thing I want to teach you about a lot of these tools is that you can actually get, you can get the tools to operate differently. I forget that I'm on the PC. What's the shortcut for the PC? It's still the command. Let me cancel. If you double click on a tool many times, it gives you some options for how the tool will come out. So I'm at the pencil tool right now. And when you just choose the pencil tool, you can have it draw, but you can actually say how accurate or how smooth it will be. So I'm going to cancel that and make a new artboard. So I'm going to go over here to artboards, which is the bottommost angle. Click a plus.
If we wanted to reset one of these tools back to their original again, how did we do that?
The best way I have found when you go to these tools and want them to be reset is to just single click with them, right? And then you get to write your numbers in. And so when you write your numbers in, you get to have it be logical if it's gone to bazillions of grids or bazillions of lines. So here's the rectangular tool that we were working with, the rectangular grid tool, this one, right? If it's skewed and you don't remember how to unskew it, right? Then if you double click on it, it comes up with you being able to skew it less, back, top, right, no skew, middle, numbers, 14, you do your whole things, and then you can say, okay. So choosing numbers is the best way to control it.
Okay, so the spiral tool, we'll just have to figure out what that original number was. It sounds like.
You go to the spiral tool, and again, spiral cool.
Yeah, I clicked on it. I just can't remember what the actual original.
What I do is I just try the radius and the decay are numbers that, it's also mathematical that you don't really know. So I go ahead and I put in, say I put a similar number on everything, and it might make the tool be terribly bad. So say I make it be, that thing is 96 right now. If I make it be 10, that's a really different number, right? But try it. And then I see, and what I discover is there's no spiral left. So I go, oh, clearly that is not it. So I hit delete. I'm going to click over here. And so I know that has to be much bigger. So then I go, okay, what is 50% going to do? And I say, okay, oh, I'm beginning to have the tool. So that gives you you have to kind of try it out a few times until you go, clearly it has to be
Okay.
a bigger number.
Yep, got it.
Then you go 100%. Ooh, that gives me a circle. That's not a spiral, right? So you basically try it out.
Okay. Yep, got it.
I'm going to go with 75%. And then there it gives me pretty much the beginning spiral. But you kind of have to guess it sometimes because, each one has its own type of shape or name.
Massage it.
All right, so I wanted us to grab the pencil tool. We're going to start doing a little bit more free drawing. And a lot of people immediately think, oh, well, the pencil tool is a free drawing tool. Not so much, okay? So go grab your pencil. And there's some cool stuff about the pencil, and there's some not so cool stuff about the pencil. So let me show you the pencil. So when you just grab the pencil and you haven't changed anything, it'll come out with whatever you're drawing. Let me just change. I'm doing so much pink. Let me change the stroke because the color of the pencil will be based on the stroke color. So I'm going to go to I don't know, a green color for my stroke. Okay. And so when I draw something, it's kind of weird. And yet when I let go, it kind of smoothed up. Let me show you. Let me see if you see this big. When I'm drawing it, it's kind of coming out really jaggedy. See that? But when I let go, the lines have smoothed out. Do you see? So it's not faithful to what my pencil is doing. My pencil's kind of not doing a very sharp thing. But see how it became much smoother when I let go? So that's a choice you can make. I'm going to double click my pencil and you can choose how accurate or how smooth to your drawing it is. And the default setting is in the middle. So say that I make it be very smooth. I'm going to the extreme of smooth and I say, okay. Then if I make a very irregular, messy line, when I let go, see how it became this perfect little curve? If I instead, I'm going to double click on the pencil and I'm going to have it be much more accurate to what I draw, and I say, okay, then if I make kind of a weird little line when I let go, see how it became a more jaggedy line? Look at the difference between this line and that line. And I did kind of the same thing, but this one made it look all perfect and smooth. And this one, on the other hand, kind of was a bit more so see the difference between this smooth thing and this not smooth thing? And on the pencil, that was just like when I double clicked, accurate versus smooth. Okay. The typical setting for this is somewhere in the middle, right? And you can change a lot of stuff of what you do with these things. I'm going to reset it to its basics, which brings it to the middle. Your pencil tends to be a tool that is, you have to say okay to that, tends to be a tool that allows you to draw things, but it's not the same as drawing with your real pencil. And right now I am using this pen, right? Not the Wacom pen, not the mouse, but in many ways, even with your mouse, which I just picked up, it helps you make something relatively smooth, which you would never be able to. So I'm gonna let go of these two though, and the difference, once I double click and make it be real smooth, means that I am allowed with a mouse right now. Okay, with a smooth, I'm allowed to kind of jiggle my way through this S. This is a mouse S or 2. And it still shows up the perfectly smooth little curve. Okay. So that could be to your advantage if you're with a mouse, then you're trying to get some straight lines out there that you couldn't otherwise. I'm gonna show you though. Let's go ahead and make some kind of shape that's not smooth like this S. Okay, so go get your pencil. Make it maybe accurate right now. So say double click on it, say make it accurate, which is where it's not going to be smooth. Say okay. And then kind of do some angly kind of lines like that, because I'm going to show you something. So here I have a not very smooth line at all. I've made little weird angles and stuff in my tracks, right? So you'll make yourself, and for that I purposely double clicked on the pencil and made it go accurate instead of smooth. Okay. And I said, okay. And then I got this kind of not very pretty line. So you have to select it again. So I left the tool, left the pencil tool, went and selected the shape. And now watch, just watch for a second. Under the pencil tool, there's the smooth tool, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to grab that smooth tool and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to draw it over this little area and woo, it smoothed out. I'm going to draw it again and it smoothed even more. It's kind of cool. I'm going to keep drawing it over these little lines. I'm going to draw it over here. God, I'm getting these. I'm just kind of dragging it over and it's simplifying the whole path. You see how it's straightening it out? So I can make any line that's kind of messy straighten out just by smoothing it out with this guy. Okay. And if you double click the smooth tool, it has its own little accurate or smooth. So I can go extreme and make it be really smooth. Say, okay. And then when I go over here and pass it over there, it gave me a perfect little, so I'm nice smoothing this shape and I'm getting a perfect little circle out of it. Okay. So you can control how much you want this smoothing tool to really smooth. And if you might notice, the difference between this one before and after is how many paths I have. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to undo with Control Z. Keep looking at this line. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Keep looking at this line for a little bit. Okay. Can you see? Let me make it a different color so you can see the paths a bit better. Let me make it orange. Okay, perfect. This is a much better color. See how you can see how many little anchors I have there? I'm going to go undo. Undo. And I'm undoing all the smoothness. Whoa, I undid it a bit too much until I got rid of it. Let me redo. And redo. Here's my original pencil. And let me get a better color. Here's my original pencil. And it's got many anchors, right? Creating these little weird shapes, many anchors over here. And what the smooth tool does when I try to smooth over it, it's basically reducing the amount of anchors. So the smaller the amount of anchors, the cleaner my line. Every time I draw over it, I ended up with only 1, 2, 3 little anchor spots to create this curve when I had started with like 8. So the way to smooth a line. So now think about when you create an object, because soon we're going to start creating objects out of our own. The more little anchor spots with individual paths in between, the jaggedier that your lines are going to be. Versus if I smooth these lines, what's happening is the tool is getting rid of multiple anchors and multiple segments. To make it smoother, you need just longer lines, longer paths, and less segments. So I had like 8 or 10 segments here, and now I'm down to 4. And if the more I keep smoothing it, the more it's going to keep taking away. Okay.
Now, Deanna, when you are doing your personal design work, you pretty much work with the Wacom pen when you're creating lines. Is that true? Even though we're using our mice.
Yeah, that's why I'm pointing out it over here that I'm using this.
You are using that. Okay.
But a couple of times I said, now I'm using my mouse. Right?
Got it. You're right.
So I'm showing you a bit the difference. It's easier, of course, to use my pen, but with this smoothing effect, you can use your mouse and a pencil and still get a relatively smoothish line, right? Because if not, it's very hard to get anything. But you would really, you know, design anything with a straight line like this anyway, but I'm just showing you its possibilities. And if you are someone who grabs the pencil and can do that, then you might want to know that it, depending on its settings, whether it's set to smooth or fidelity or accurate, what's going to come out is very different. So as a basic set for the tool, if you always leave it in kind of that midpoint, then when you start drawing, you can decide how much you want to change it. So it makes other choices here. Now, for example, closed paths when ends are within 15 pixels, for example, right? That's the normal setting. So what that means is that if I draw a line here, and then right next to it, I draw another line, guess what it's going to do? It joined them. So if I'm trying to do that, and then I try to do that, it joined it. But again, it joins it, but the tip has to adapt. So this one that I made right across it ended up as a separate line. Okay. So it's not a free tool. You can't draw as if it really a pencil that you draw over this and it works. If you just cross this over that, it doesn't work. But look at the shape of see right here, when I draw a new path, see how my pencil has a little asterisk? That means new path. Over here, new path. Now watch, when I get really close to this tip right there, it has a little line under the pencil. See, there's the asterisk. Do you see a little line under the pencil? Can you see how my shape changed?
Yeah.
I don't know how near.
Yeah,
When my mouse gets near to it and I see a line, then now whatever I draw is going to be a continuum.
got it.
And there you go. It's like the shape needs to be selected, of course, for this to work. And then I keep drawing and it keeps adding. So that little minus point means that it keeps adding. The moment I see the asterisk, I'm making a new one. There, I'm going to add to the line. Okay. So if I draw there, I was near to it, but I had an asterisk. So that means I'm making a new one. If I'm within 15 pixels of the tip, now when I draw, it's going to add. Okay, so you need to keep an eye on the shape of your tool, whether it adds or it makes a new one. Asterisk means new. Even if I'm close up, if it has an asterisk, I'm going to make a new one. But if I am near enough there, when I draw, it's going to join and it's going to continue. Okay. Now that you've seen some of these lines, once again, I find the pencil not a very, personally for me, not a very useful tool in Illustrator. Now I'm backing out because of all these little lines and squiggles that I was showing you. I'm going to move them up a little bit to get them kind of out of the way. Oh, and by the way, anything that's outside, and I don't know if you're accustomed to Photoshop, but in Photoshop, they disappear. You don't see this area is masked. It's out of the picture if it's Photoshop. But if it's in Illustrator or InDesign or on the others, this becomes something we call the pasteboard. And it's places where you can say, well, I don't want this path light now. I'm going to put it out there, but I don't want to get rid of it yet. So you're basically moving it out of the way, just like you would if you have little bits and pieces for a collage and you're not including this one. So when you print this page, this won't print and that won't print. The only thing that prints is what's in the pasteboard, but the shape is still there for you to go, well, now let's bring it in again, right? So it works as a place to put your outcasts, you know, or your stuff that you don't want. But when you're done with the file, ideally you'll go in and clean up all of that stuff because it still does take space in the file. And if you don't need it, you don't want to leave a lot of just junk there. But it's all not going to work, not going to be valid to the shape if it's not inside of the pasteboard. All right. So I just wanted to show you that, that it, you know, the fact that you can have some stuff waiting in the margins, waiting for you to use it later. All right. So I've moved a couple of things to the margins. And I moved things out of the way. And now let's begin actually using the creation tools that are the real creation tools where you can do whatever you want. Over here at the top, the direct selection tool, by the way, is the one that we use when we want to move things around our own way. So we've actually, one more thing before we go to the creation tools, which is the pen tool and the shaper tool. Let me go for a second to the direct selection tool again, because we only used it once. And so I want to show this one again to you a little bit so you remember. Do you remember the difference when we had a rectangle or a circle? Let me just review here, a quick rectangle here, okay? Let me give it some fill. Okay, so just a quick review. I'm going to zoom in about the direct selection tool. So here we go. With the direct selection tool, I could grab, one time I had to select the shape and one more time I had to select an anchor, remember? And then I could go to the anchor and change it. Remember that? Where you could grab the anchors or you could grab the paths and change it. So just in case you don't remember that, go back and make a little rectangle like I just did, and your little shape, and then switch to the direct selection tool. And you have to just actually select the anchor itself. It'll change color, the rest will go white, and then that's the anchor that you can play around with. And then at that moment, you can play with anything. So we did this about 3 classes ago, or maybe 2 classes ago. Now we're really going to go much more in depth with this selection tool. So I want you guys to remember how to use it. And remember, you could select it quickly and then it moves as if it were the black anchor tool. See, the whole thing is moving. So the whole click, then click again is pretty crucial. Every time someone says it's not working for me, it's because you just click on it and try to move it. You need to click and then click again. And now see, the other paths are white and this one is blue. That means I've clicked enough times that now I can select it and work on it individually. Okay, so that's very important to click and then click again. If that's working for you and you remember, then we can move on. But if anyone has a question, because I want you guys to have a memory of how that works. All right. Now, I'm not hearing any questions, so I'm going to continue. So here the thing is, though, is that we're restricted to the set of paths that we have. We don't have any more paths than this. To create another path here, I would have to set a new anchor point, right? Because this started by being a rectangle. So what this means is, as a rectangle, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4 paths that created it, and 1, 2, 3, 4 anchors that created it. So if I want to change this in any drastic way, other than these little changes that we're doing, what I need to do is I need to add more anchor points to have more paths, right? So how do I add an anchor point in the middle of this shape in order to have more paths, right? So over here, we have these little pen-shaped tools. So there's one that has a little curve. It's called curvature tool in front of it, and one that's just the pen tool. I want you to just grab the pen tool and only the pen tool. All right. Now notice that this shape, just like the pencil I showed you before, has a little asterisk underneath it. Yeah. So notice that when I hover over a path that's highlighted, it now has a little plus. If I try to do that over a shape that's not selected, nothing's happening. So the shape has to be selected. So if you didn't select it first, go ahead and select your shape. Okay, first, then go to the pen tool. And now when I hover over a path, instead of giving me the new, it gives me a plus sign. And if I click on that path, I have dropped a new anchor. Now I'm going to drop another new anchor. So now I've dropped 2 new anchor points. See that? So now I can go to my white arrow tool and grab these anchor points and begin to do something different with this shape than what I had before. So instead of just 4 paths and 4 anchor points, I've added 2 more, 6 paths and 6 anchor points. That gives me many more options for this shape.
Wait, can you show us how you did that again?
So make sure your shape is selected. That's the important key.
Okay.
Then you grab your pen tool. Okay, just the top
Okay.
pen tool.
Okay.
And when you hover and cross the path with the tip of your pen, your pen, see how it becomes into a plus sign?
Yes.
The moment you click, you drop a new path there. The moment you drop a new path, nothing much seems to happen. All that is a new path, but a new anchor point. But now I've dropped 2 more anchor points. Move back to the direct selection tool. And now that gives you infinite more choices of what you can do with that. So with the direct selection tool, you manipulate those anchor points that you just dropped.
Do that again.
Okay. And you can also select the path itself and then manipulate the path plus the 2 anchor points.
So are we adding anchor points? Is that what
You're
you're saying?
adding, yeah, the pen tool adds anchor points.
Okay.
Notice that if you hover over this thing, it drops an anchor point. And then with the direct selection tool, you move it and do whatever you want with that anchor point. And I know some of you guys out there are making some cool shapes. By the way, whenever I show these things, I don't particularly try to make cool shapes because then people are trying to imitate my shape versus playing around with the tool. I want you to find how to use the tool, and then we come up with what cool shapes we can make. But it's not about making the cool shape, but it's about learning how to use the tool for me that I'm making you do this. So now this was relatively restricted in that all we did was drop some new paths in here and thus have more things to manipulate. But what if I actually have a shape that has too many anchor points? And now I want a few less. I would like this line to be straight. So I want that and that line to be straight. Well, one option is to bring this in to turn this into a straight line, but it's harder to get a perfectly straight line there. If I have 2 things here that aren't working well, it's giving me a bit of a beef, and the object's going to be the best it can be if it has the least amount of anchor points. So although I can try to get a straight line out of this, the best straight line would be for there to be no anchor point there. The best straight line would be for it to go straight from here to here. So how do I get rid of that anchor point? Okay, so go back to the pen tool. And when you hover over a path, you add anchor points. But when you hover over an existing anchor, see how it goes into a minus? See, my shape is looking like a minus now. Over here, it's a plus. It'll drop a new path. Hovering right over an anchor is a minus. When I click, boom, I got rid of that path, of that anchor. I'm going to hover over this one and I'm going to click, boom, I got rid of that anchor. So I'm going to now get rid of a lot of these extra anchor points. And basically I went just back to my 4 anchor points, and I can get rid of even more. Now I'm creating a triangle. So you add with this pen tool, you either add anchor points or you get rid of anchor points, okay? In a shape. So I'm going to now add 2 or 3. And when I add them, I've added 3 anchor points. Not much technically seems to happen, but then it allows me to move it. Versus when I get rid of an anchor point, many times a lot seems to happen, because if I get rid of this anchor point, that line has to now join these 2. So it seems to do a lot, but it's because I'm getting rid of it in a place where it's pretty crucial to the shape. If I were to get rid of an extra anchor point just because I don't need it so much, so say if this anchor point had been over here, it's not doing too much. So when I get rid of that one, not that much crazy stuff happens. So anyway, I just want you guys to get comfy with adding and deleting anchor points. And the clue is, the key thing is, you need to have a ton of, you need to have your shape selected. And then you can actually bring in, by hitting, I put down 4 anchor points, and that allows me to create this little inset that I'm just handling from the path. I'm moving it in or out. But what I did is I had to drop 1, 2, 3, and 4 anchor points on the line to then create this little shape. Okay. All right. Before we move beyond this, any questions?
Can I mention one thing?
Yeah.
I like using the quick keys a lot, especially when I'm like noodling stuff around, and I like to use the control key as a toggle. So like when you were showing us that add anchor point, if I add an anchor point and then hold control, it brings me back to the direct select tool, which is really allows me to like kind of play around without having to go back and forth.
Yeah. And I'm going to show you that in a second. So I'm glad you discovered that. But the thing is that when I do that, people get really confused about what each tool does. So first I show, so you're clear that the pen tool is the one that adds and takes away paths, and the direct selection point is the one that lets you manipulate them. But there is a shortcut. Yeah. There's a shortcut to them. And that's the cool thing, because I hate being here all the time. Right. And so here's what he's saying. So if you're comfy with understanding the difference between manipulating it or adding it or taking it away, which is manipulate, direct selection, path, or anchor can be manipulated, okay, with the direct selection tool, either one. You add them and you're taking them away with the pen tool. But if you're in the midst of creating your shape, because you're not sure yet if you have enough the shape that you want, then you stay in your pen tool. You add an anchor point, but I'm still in my pen tool, right? So if I want to do something with that, look what happens right now when I actually hold down. If you're on a PC, it's the control key. If you're on a Mac, it's the command key. So I'm going to hold down the control key, and that turns into the direct selection tool for me to be able to do something with it. I let go of the control key. I'm back into my pen tool. I add another one. I hold down the control key. I can move it, and I go, oh no, I need another one. So you put another one in, hold down the control, give it the shape you want, and then you go, I think that's one too many. Hover over this one, get rid of that one. Go down the control, manipulate it until you go, now I have what I want. So when you have what you want, you really don't want the pen tool anymore. You're done. When you've got the amount of paths and anchors, now you can just go and actually click the direct selection tool or the shortcut, which is A. And now you can just keep modifying and manipulating all you want and not having to deal with switching from path to direct selection tool. Okay. So in the moment that you're dropping anchors and deleting anchors, adding and taking away, you want to live in the path tool and quickly shift to direct selection mode by using your control for the PC or command for the Mac key. So you drop 2 or 3 and you go, okay, let me see how that works. You hold down the control key. See how my white arrow turned up? You manipulate it. Then you go, yeah, but I need 2 more here. You drop 2 more there. You get your control key. You manipulate that. And then you go, let me take that one away. You get rid of that one. Get rid of that one again. You didn't like it. You let me drop them in here. Oh, I dropped that one. See what happened there? That one I didn't drop in the right place. If you have like a thing coming out of your pen, I'll show you what that is right now, but that means that you didn't intersect. So Command Z, and now make sure you intersect when you drop. So if you've dropped any paths outside, you're creating a new shape and you get this little line that kind of follows you. We'll deal with that in a second. Right now, I'm still teaching you how to add and delete from existing shapes. So if you did something like that, Control or Command Z, and you're back. You will get to create your own shapes with this tool, but right now we're still in learning mode. And I found that the best learning mode is to first just learn what it does, which is add or get rid of paths. And then the direct selection tool helps you manipulate them. Okay, so it's the Control or the Command key when you are in the mode with the pen tool that allows you to manipulate that path that you just dropped. Now, when you have, let me undo that. When you have a path that's Jesus, I've never taught Illustrator on VDI, and the shortcuts that I automatically do, my brain has to rethink from PC to Mac. Hold on. What's the shortcut for this one? Give me a second. You'll see what I'm trying to do. Okay, there we go. It's the Option or Alt. Okay, sorry. I needed to figure out my shortcut key. So now, all of these things that we've been dropping, if you've been working with a shape like mine, starting with a rectangle, have been straight lines. See that? Everything is a straight line. In order to convert this straight line into a curve, I need my anchor point. So the anchor point is where the paths initiate from. The anchor point right now is only pulling out straight lines. I need my anchor point to turn into a curved anchor point. So look what's going to happen. I'm going to hover over this. That's give me two very straight lines. I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt key. And see how I don't have a full-on arrow? I have like it's not the white arrow. This is the white arrow. That's the Control or Command key. This one is just like a little tip. I'm going to touch the anchor and I'm going to drag out some handles. And now I have a circle. Okay, so I'm going to undo that again. So you hover over an existing path and you hold down the Option or Alt key if you're in a PC. And then you click and you drag. And what happens is that when you drag out handles, the anchor now puts out curves instead of straight lines. So the anchor is what you're changing. So I'm going to hover over this anchor, turn it up, put the Alt key, and then drag out. And what I'm dragging out are handles. So now I'm able to convert a straight anchor into a curved anchor. Now, what I end up having here is curves coming out of both sides. So I have, this has become a curved anchor. But these two now still have one curve coming out and one straight line. So these are hybrid. You have a curve coming out from one side and a straight one from there. So by turning these into curves, this by default is a hybrid now. When I try to click on it, one side has handles and one does not. Okay. I click on it with the Option key. I turn them both into curves. Okay, so go ahead and transform your sharp cornered anchors into curved anchors by holding down the Option or Alt key when you're clicking on it, but not just clicking, but clicking and dragging. And that's what pulls out your handles. It's the click and drag mode. Okay. So once again, I'm going to turn, click and drag. There we go. Click and drag. Again, it's not yet about knowing exactly how to handle these handles, but it's about knowing how to turn your sharp angles into curves. As I'm doing this, hopefully you're doing it alongside me. Any questions? No? Is everyone pretty successful with this?
No, I can't seem to get that.
All right. So do you want to maybe share so we can see how I can see what you're working on so that I can help you get, wait, you can't share until I stop sharing. Give me a second. I need my tools. Here we go. Want to share your screen, please, Violet? And I got your email, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I need to figure out how that works. Can you talk to me a little bit later or during break?
Yes.
I'll explain. Yeah. Okay.
So I have my image and then I'm on the selection tool, and let's assume I want to make this like a curve. So
Yeah. So put your, okay. So are you holding the Alt or Control? Are you on a PC or on a Mac? What are you in? You're in,
on a Mac, but I'm doing BDI.
yeah, your PC. So basically Option or Alt key. And now click and drag. No, you first, okay. The same rule as before, you first need to have selected it twice. So you need to be able to, so select the whole thing first without the anchor. Now select that anchor in person. Okay, is it blue and the rest are white? Okay, now hold down your Alt key and then click and drag out from that anchor point. Oh, no, you're in your selection tool. You need to be in your path tool. So the pen tool, I'm sorry, not path tool, pen tool. This works starting from the pen tool. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now hold on your Option or and Command Z, Control Z. Okay, so go back to the, hover over the, that shape. Yep, and now hold down your Option or Alt key. Good, now click and drag. Cool.
Oh.
Okay, so you have to be, this is all from the pen tool because you are creating something new. The pen tool is the creator. The direct selection tool just, you know, changes the spot it's in. But the maker or deleter or modifier of the kind of anchor is always the pen tool, right?
Oh.
So the pen tool is where you put more paths. And when you first drop a path, if it's in the middle of a curve, it drops a curved anchor point. Like go ahead and drop in the middle of this curve, drop another little anchor point. Go to, not right on top of it, go to some part of the path in the middle of the curve.
Like right there?
Go to some part of the curve a little bit further down. Yeah, there, and drop an anchor in there. Cool. So that anchor already dropped with handles as a curved anchor tool because you dropped it in the middle of a curved path. But if you drop a path in the middle of that bottom straight line that you have, then it will only be a straight anchor one. So the path, the anchor that you drop adapts to the kind of path it's in. If it's a curve, it comes out already as a curve. And if it's a straight line, it comes out as a straight line. So it's up to you to now drop that. You didn't actually drop a path. Drop a path in there. Click. Okay. Now grab your Alt or Option key and click and drag. And now you made that into two curves.
Oh. Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, it just takes a little bit of switching your brain. This is the part where your brain has to be like, what? You really need to make things enough time, repeat them until you really get the feeling going here. The path tool, the pen tool drops paths. If you're in a path that's straight, it drops a straight anchor path. If you're in a curve, it drops a curved anchor path. What that means is the curved anchor paths are going to have little handles for you to modify the curve, and the straight ones are not. Right, that's all it does. Yep, there you go. All right, now when you're done, because you know you have as many paths as you want, then you can go just to the direct selection tool, the one that you were in first, and just play around with them now. And that's all. And you don't need to create or delete. But you can't also at this point change them into curves, or you can't now change them into curves or straight lines. With this tool, you just manipulate them. You have what you have, right?
Mhm.
With this tool, you can't do the shifting. So is that clear, you guys? When you're working with the direct selection tool, you've got the anchor that you have. You don't at that point turn it into a different kind of path of anchor point. So
I do have one other quick question
Mhm.
whenever you're ready.
yeah,
For the join tool, I'm still having issues with that one.
yeah, it's not a very intuitive tool, so yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's maybe not oh,
No,
not
oh, you went to the employee desktop, which instead of the student desktop, which as long as that's where you were working, and that's fine. Okay.
So if I go to, like, for instance, my first little artboard, I couldn't join these two pieces.
Okay, select both. So with your selection tool, select both of the lines. Select one and the other. Okay. And now, yeah, they might be too far. Go to that join tool.
Is it this one? Can't
It's
remember.
under the pencil. Go click on the pencil and it's underneath the pencil. Click and hold there.
Oh, okay.
So the key was probably that you weren't selecting both. So you
And
need to
then
select both.
if you were to select these two,
Don't
it
think
wouldn't.
it's gonna work because well, maybe they are lines in the end, but you have a fill there. Go ahead and try it. I'm not sure. You might need to use the joined paths. Yeah, actually they joined. It's the fill that's messing you up.
Okay.
The paths did join, but it's a weird little thing that happens there and how it joins. You might need to actually just join paths with the going up to the object join setting for that one there.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, thank you. I think that the
the
main
problem the problem when you fill in shapes like that snail that isn't really a closed object, it's an open object, is that the fill goes wherever it wants. You can't control where it goes, as you saw. So it's better to work with closed paths when you want to do any kind of fill. So what you need to do is you need to create a closed path there to cap that shape and then join them as shapes. And then you can have it. Can you create like an oval or something crossing the ending of that, like a little rectangle or something crossing the ending of your spiral, and then use the join shapes?
You mean like
That?
use a rectangle,
Yeah, try that.
like right here, you mean?
Yeah. Let's see if that, now select the spiral as well, like both that one and the spiral.
Like this?
Yeah. I'm not sure it's going to work, but now go to the join path, join shapes, the first one that we used the first day,
Yeah.
and try to drag across them.
Yeah.
No, but this is the join path, not this one, but this is the join paths, which is different than the join shapes. Although I don't have the sample in here. Go to the tools and I'll show you which one I'm talking about. Go back to the tools. Okay, now point down, 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 down to right there. Up, up, one more, one up. That one, shape builder tool.
Mhm.
Yeah, so click and see if you can drag across those two shapes. Yeah, there and there. Click from one to the other. No, because one is a closed shape and one is, see, one is a path and one is a shape. That's the problem. You can't join a shape to a path, but I just wanted you to give it a try.
Okay.
It's not working. So Command Z your way out of that, or Control Z your way out of all of that. I just wanted to test it. One joins paths, one joins shapes. And right there you have a shape and a path. So it's not working. So if you keep doing Control, hold down the Control and then tap the Z enough times, you'll get back there.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. So anything else you guys want to ask about before we continue with, right now we've been still modifying existing shapes, learning how to use the tools to modify shapes. And now I want us to actually create a new one of our own, starting from 0 instead of starting from a shape. But I first want you to be comfy with the fact that the pen tool drops anchors if it's on a straight line. Once again, let me get really up close to this example again. If my path, or my path, I'm creating both a path and an anchor when I drop an anchor. But if I drop an anchor in the middle of a curve, it
You
will
need to share your
automatically,
screen.
oh, thank you for the reminder. There we go. Okay, so I approached, so make sure that the path is selected first, right? Which it is. Then when you select the pen tool, if I drop a path in the middle of a curve, by default, that path that I'm dropping comes out with, see, handles. If instead I drop a path in the middle of a straight line, it is a straight angle, such that if I were to manipulate this one right now, the moment I click on it, I can manipulate it as a curve, versus this one, and I click on it, all it is a straight line, because I dropped it in the middle of a straight line, and this I dropped in the middle of a curve. It's only when you want to change the thing they are. So say that I now don't want this to be anymore. If I want this one now to be a curve as well, then I have to change it. But I'm in my direct selection tool because I'm manipulating it, and nothing here in the direct selection tool will make me change that. This just lets me manipulate that. This makes me manipulate that. So if I want to change its character, so to say, its existence from straight to curve, I need to head back into the path tool, because this is the creation tool. And in the pen tool, I'm sorry, in the pen tool is the creation tool. Now I can make that one straight and this one curved, meaning I can revert them. So to make this one curved, I hold down the option and drag, and I turn it into a curve. And to make this one into a straight one, I hold down that same option and simply click. And when I simply click, now I've turned it into a straight one. Okay, so I click and drag to turn it into a curve, or I go to a curved one again with the same option or Alt key, and now I click and I turn it again into a square angle. So I go to a square angle, drag, make it into a curve, go to a curved one, click, turn it into a straight one again. Is that pretty clear? Go to a place where you have a pretty obvious example like this. So this is a very curvy path here. I click on it, boom, straight lines, click, straight lines. So now I'm clicking and I'm getting straight lines at that same place where before I had a ton of curves. So I'm going to back off a little bit so I can see more of my shape. And I'm going to all my anchors that were curves, single clicking and single clicking and single clicking. And I've lost all my curves in this shape because I have turned the back into straight angles. Or go and click and drag, and I'm turning them back into curves. Okay, so curves everywhere. Or single click, straight lines everywhere. Okay, so go ahead and do that. That's why I don't want you to get married to the shape you're making at first, because then it's hard to play around with the shape. I wanted on the side be creating your beautiful shapes like, like Violet just showed you, she's making a snail. But with the shapes that you're learning, I want you to be free to do and undo, because I want you to not go, oh, but I just made a perfect little shape and I don't want to try this out. So if you did do that, go to another shape and play around with your making and unmaking of the curves.
Okay. Deanna?
Yes.
Can I ask a quick question? It's Gigi. So I didn't understand, this is how to connect the two anchors, like when I join. I should have asked you before, but
Yeah,
how do I select them both to join them?
I kind of did that a little bit as a throwaway example, and now I'm kind of stuck in you guys wanting more about that because I'm really trying to teach you something else. But okay, how to
Sorry.
join? That's okay. Select the two shapes; they need to be near enough, and then if it's a path. Sorry, right? You're talking about two paths that you want to join.
Yes.
Select both. Violet just showed that example, and then you can drag across them. If you want to share your screen, I can help you more, but they need to be two lines. And
Well, I
that's how
have
you
like
can
a shift, it's like a mountain shape, and I just want to put the third line underneath to make it a triangle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, go ahead and share your
You want me to
screen.
share? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's Illustrator is hard to describe. You need to like,
Oh,
I
wait.
need to see your mouth moving, so that I can show you.
Okay, wait, I'm trying to share my screen, but I'm on your screen, clicking share. Oh, shoot.
No, I'm not sharing mine, so you're
Okay,
doing that. Mine is not sharing anymore.
where's my Zoom? Oh my God. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I can't find my share, my screen, my Zoom. Let's see.
All right,
Sorry about this.
so go down to your dock or
Okay.
taskbar and click on Zoom. Where are you, on a Mac or on a PC?
PC.
Go down to your dock and click on the word Zoom, see if that pops it up. Otherwise, Control Tab might help you. Hold down the control and then
Control tab.
until you
Okay,
see
good.
Zoom.
Start. Well, it says start Zoom that way. No, let's see. Yeah, I'm oh wait, okay. Here we go. I've got to exit and then, well, I'm clicking on share screen. Oh, now I got it. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I was
know,
confused.
especially when you have a bunch of stuff going on. It's
Okay,
confusing.
there. And then I'm sharing my screen, but now I gotta
Okay.
pull up my, sorry.
It's fine, no problem. Nice little nice colors you have there on your.
Thank you. Adobe Cloud. Okay, just why is it? Where did my drawing go?
There's Illustrator. So go down to Illustrator. You're almost on top of it, and click on that AI. You're an inch down.
Okay.
See the AI? No, to the
Oh,
right.
here
to the
it
right.
is.
Here it is. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you.
So
Okay.
you have a line. Say cancel. Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
I just was trying to connect these two to make a triangle.
So you can't just connect them. You need to draw another line. It doesn't automatically connect. So go ahead and select that shape. Okay, select it. Perfect. Oh, now you made it with a pencil, right? So grab your pencil tool, which is down, keep going down. Two more. Oh, no. There, that one, click and hold.
All right.
Because and then the top tool, pencil. There. Now get near enough that the line there you go, up there. Now click and then draw a line to the other edge.
Okay.
Perfect. There you go.
And that's it. Well, it doesn't join.
Well, go ahead and select it as a tool and you'll see that you did join it. See?
I guess it is joined. Oh,
Because,
okay. Well, what if they weren't joined?
Okay, go ahead and do Command Z.
Okay, undo that.
Okay. The reason it joined, stay in that tool, put your mouse nearby. When you have that asterisk like that, see how your pencil has an asterisk?
Yes.
That's an unjoined path. Okay. And then let go. But when you had approached it near enough that you were right next to it and you had a line, that's why the one you made before was joined. I thought you said you wanted to join them, so I had you put it nearby. But without joining them like that, now you started it far enough that you didn't have the little line underneath. Now there you have your separate path.
Okay. Well, then how do I select to join it? I want to use the join tool.
Well, now from here to here, you want to join them?
Yeah, I'm going to connect this to this.
If you select both,
How do I do that? That's where I'm getting confused.
okay, get your selection tool. Selection tool always happens, no, the direct selection tool. Sorry,
This one.
the regular black selection tool. So select
Okay.
both, click on shift or drag a net to select both. You have to select both.
Oh,
No,
shoot.
you're just making it bigger. So
Oh,
select, go ahead and
Control
just say
Z.
Control Z and then
And I'm
drag
go
yourself.
back.
Okay, so
This
selecting
time.
both means that either you select one and then shift select the other, or drag a little net from the neutral area, like go to the neutral area of white, right outside where those two corners are, and drag across them.
Like this.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Yeah, you could have just selected a little area where the two tips were, but that works as well.
Okay.
Now that you have the two paths selected, go to the join tool that you were talking about. So go to the pencil, click and hold. And it's that bottom one.
Okay.
And now drag from the tip of one to the tip of the other.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what was happening for me was it was doing this blue line, but then it wasn't connecting it.
Well,
Before-
because you didn't have both selected. So you have to have both selected. Now notice that when you have such a big distance as you had here, it does whatever it wants to do. It's not a very intuitive tool, the join path tool. So that's why when you had them next to each other, it just kind of drew a little bit more. But these two are far away. You're asking Illustrator to do the job you're not doing, which is you didn't continue the line long enough. So then Illustrator joins it, and as you can see, it did something weird. So if you command undo, command Z, that distance is too far. You're asking Illustrator to invent all of that. So that's
Okay.
why I said,
Got that. And then do I have to go outside in the gray to do the selection? Like,
yeah, no, you can do the selection right from near the shape. Okay, so
okay.
you can be right there, click and drag. Yeah,
Okay.
as long as you touch a little bit of each, that's all. And then they're selected.
Okay, and then I go back to the join tool, which is this one.
Yeah.
And then
it's gonna do whatever it wants because it's a lot. So see the other arrow, the other line, see how the end of it, the tip of that line is going upwards, it's going tick at the very end. So when you join these two, it joined it as if that line had gone up.
Oh.
Because you left it in a going up mode.
Okay.
So that's why I say, instead of doing that, draw a longer line and then you'll get more of what you want.
Okay.
Does that make sense, you guys? Like you're making Illustrator draw a line, it'll draw it based on whatever leading lines it has. And can you undo and show the tip of her line? Command Z, see the tip of that line? Can you point to the one that's, yeah.
This one.
Yeah. See how you guys, how it's tipping, it's going upwards. Can you see that, you guys? The end of that line is beginning to curve upwards. So when you let Illustrator decide where it's going to go, that line gets continued in an upwards motion. And that's why it joins it like that as a little triangle.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We can probably learn to trim like that so it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually go back to the join tool, click and hold.
This one. Okay.
Yeah. And see the path eraser tool.
Oh, good.
But you don't have it selected. So you first need to, everything always needs to be selected to work with it. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now go to the path eraser tool.
And that's under pencil.
Yep.
Oh, it's on it already.
You already chose it. And now trace it backwards from the back. So start from the tip and undo that kind of funky little shape. The tip, it's the eraser is the tip? No, you're selecting around it. The eraser of your pencil is the tool, yeah. So erase, there you go. You erase. See how she's erasing, you guys? You can drag up. I know you're trying to drag up as if you were drawing it again, but with the eraser. There you go.
Oh, nice.
She's drawing with her eraser of her pencil. That's the path eraser tool.
Cool. And then if I want to join those two, I have to select it, right? And then go to the join with the pencil. No, Where's the
Yeah.
join again?
Click and hold your pencil.
My pencil.
Click and hold, and it's at the bottom
Join.
of that one. Yeah, and then that hopefully will be a bit of a big straighter line now that you've got.
Do I click on this anchor?
You need, yeah, you need to touch both.
Ah, still did it, but
Doing that.
okay.
Yeah, I
It's
told
okay.
you I don't show the join path tool too much because it works a little bit when lines are right next to each other. They work, but
Right.
when you're trying to make Illustrator draw the lines that you didn't draw, it goes wacky. So
Okay.
you need to draw lines you want to draw, and then when you have two shapes that are near enough and you want to put them together, you can use the join tool for it to join them. But other than that, it's not really a very intuitive tool. It goes and it keeps finding a different way to make your thing go. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop your share and I'm going to try to show this one more time.
Okay, thank you.
You guys, if I, hopefully you guys can see things big enough. Scooch in. You guys can change your vision of what you're seeing when you view someone's screen. I'm going to share my screen again. When you draw a line with a pencil tool and you draw another one right there, it's pretty easy if you have Illustrator join these two. When you select both, it's going to be a pretty obvious thing that it's just going to keep going, right? And so it works pretty well. But if what you have are a line over here and a line over here, and you're trying to get Illustrator to join them and you want it to make a nice little curve, it's not. It's going to do whatever it wants. You have to do the work. Illustrator is good at giving you some closure for joined things. But if you say join these two, you have no idea how that joining is going to happen. Sometimes it'll work well because you ended it in a clean line. Sometimes it won't. And it just will go, no, it's just not, it's too far. I can't join that to this. If I draw a straight line, it might do it better, but it doesn't. It's not made to create lines for you. It's made to join. See, it just didn't want to. It's made to join two things that are really near, like these two, right? That's what that tool is for. So then you select both and then you join them and it gives you that closure. Okay. So don't try to make it draw lines for you. You draw the line and then join the tips. Does that make sense? You don't use that tool to have it fill in for you. So in her case, in her left side of her mountain, it joined easily, but on the right side, she had all this distance. And so Illustrator does whatever it wants to do. So you want to create that line the way you want it and then join the tips. All right. Hopefully that showed you a little bit how this was close to each other. It was successful and this was not. All right. I'm looking at the time. I want to give us a break because I want to actually go into creating from scratch. Everything we've been doing is still creating from shapes that exist or modifying shapes that exist. Okay. So I want us to create from scratch. And so I'm going to go ahead and move all of these things in here, leave this over there. And I'm going to create a new artboard right there. And we're going to come back from break and work on this new artboard. But first, I want us to save this before we go on break. Okay. Because up until now, at least I haven't saved it. So let's go to File, Save. And remember, if you are in, let's call this one the pen tool. If you are in your own computer, save it wherever you want. But if you are VDI, we need to go to Google Drive, My Drive, and then Illustrator Classwork, and then save it right there. Say okay. All right. So it's 10:46. We'll be back at 11:01.
Oh, quick question.
Yeah.
Kiana, do we want to use the compression option when we save it?
Just whatever the default settings are. Yeah.
Okay, that's what it says. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to stop the video and the mute. And I'll see you at 11:02. at this point. See you guys in about 15 minutes. Okay. Hope everyone's back. Everyone trundle back to their computers. We're back. We're here. Hello. Back into your car. Okay. All right. I'm seeing some people turn on their screens. That means that some people are showing up again. All right. So, coffee. Had not had my morning coffee and I was a little bit tired. I'm happy to say I am frightened.
Do you like mate better or coffee?
Yeah, latte. I'm this much coffee, this much milk, which means it's not much coffee, but that tad does help. That little
No, I
bit
mean
does.
mate, like you're
Oh,
talking.
mate. I don't know.
Do you like
I'm
mate as opposed to coffee or the other way around?
I am probably the only Argentinian who doesn't drink mate.
I love mate. I love it. It's so
I am-
delicious and it's a really clean source of caffeine, you know?
It is. And it's one of those things that Argentinians drink, you know, like Americans drink coffee all the time, British drink
Right.
tea all the time, Argentinians drink mate all the time. But
So much healthier too.
I'm kind of weird. I never even had coffee until a few years ago. So I'm not much of a tea, mate, or coffee drinker.
Gotcha.
But yeah, anyway. But yeah, but it's still seeing but I drink it still the moment she picked it up, it's like, oh, she could be my auntie, you know.
Cool.
Anyway, it just felt very, even though I don't do it. All right. So oh, there you go. You don't either. Ollie's like English and doesn't drink tea. We're just not normal for our places of being, you know. We should be constantly. In fact, in my house, everyone drank tea all the time instead of mate, which is weird, but they do drink tea except for me. I don't either. Okay. And as I say that, I take a sip of coffee. So there you go. Okay. Let's go back, unless there's anything that happened during a break that you have to ask me. Then I'm sharing my screen again, but let me ask, was there anything that came up during break? Those of you who, instead of taking a break, keep doing stuff? No. Okay. So now coffee went down the wrong way. Now that we understand more how to use the pen tool, let's go back to it. Let's on a clean slate and watch how I create a shape. So just watch this portion. I've got my pen tool, nothing in front of me, and I'm going to create something from scratch. Actually, I have something selected, which is why it's not from scratch. Why is it trying to, what's it bring it? Trying to make sure I don't have anything selected. I'm gonna just start something that's totally new. Okay. I'm gonna press down. Sorry, pen tool, not the plus tool. I click somewhere, and when I drop, I have this like thing coming out, right? So watch, like a if this were Spider-Man, it's a web. It will not let go of your arm, of your hand. I'm not doing anything but moving my mouse now. All I did was click one time. I dropped an anchor, and then this is the path waiting to decide where it's going to settle in once I drop another anchor. So now I click here, boom, and drop another anchor. So now I've made one anchor, and one anchor has a path in between, but now I have another path that I'm responsible for dropping an anchor for, to say, okay, I want it there, boom, dropping an anchor. Now drop an anchor, now drop an anchor, drop an anchor. And as I drop anchors, the paths get created in between and another one comes out. And at the very end, when I'm ready to close this shape, I have to get close enough that I see that little circle at the bottom of my pen. So here it's just another anchor. Here's another anchor. It's very close, but it's not working. And boom, the moment I touch where I started, then I get that closed circle. There I click. Good. Now I have finished my shape, and see how I got that little web thing hanging out anymore? I have created my shape. So I've created it with as many anchors as I did. Now, if I decide to add some more, I can still go back and add two more anchors or whatever. And now if I'm ready to be done, I can move away and move into the direct selection tool where I start playing with all these things and whatever I want. So this is how I create a shape from scratch. Now, again, we're only talking clicks for dropping anchors. And so every anchor I've dropped is a kind of anchor that brings straight lines out of it, like a square shape anchor, square angle. So once again, how I did that, I started from scratch and just dropped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when I join finally, then I'm done. Okay. Now, all of these have, these two shapes had a stroke, but no fill. So if I give this one a fill, this is a regular, shape that needs a fill. So if my shape, and this is the only part that's confusing, if I already had decided to have a fill and a stroke, then when I am dropping the shapes, it isn't clear what the shape is doing because it starts filling it in between, and it gets kind of wacky until I finally join them. So it's easier when you're trying to create your shape to not have a fill. You know what I mean? If you don't have a fill, then it becomes easier to really see the shape you're creating and add the fill later. So that's just a suggestion. If you have the fill and it begins to do those weird things that when you're in the middle of creating it, it kind of obscures the shape of your path. Because if I do that and that and that, it's all kind of good. But the moment I start to bring them in and do some other stuff like that, it works. It's when I cross over here that suddenly I've lost any idea of what kind of shape I was making, because the fills just do whatever they're going to do, right? Which is kind of cool. But if it's not the shape I was looking for, I'm not very clear if it's working to my advantage. And that's why I want to first take this off when I create my shape. Okay, so everyone, with straight direct clicks and nothing else, and I suggest, you don't have to, but I suggest with no fill and yes stroke, go ahead and create a shape made out of just straight angles. And now, yes, you can create a shape that looks like something that you want. So say that now you want to create that little house. So exciting. What I'm about to do is so creative. The iconic little, oh, didn't even get it. Okay, so go ahead and create a shape or two that are all straight lines. And then we're going to make a new artboard. And in the new artboard, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to grab that pen tool, and instead of clicking, and watch, each time you put your mouse down, you drag your mouse. So I'm going to drag my mouse. So my first anchor already brings out a curved line. So this is the path, and those are the handles, right? So the anchor gets dropped there, and these are just the handles for the anchor, but this is my path that I'm drawing. And then I click in here and I drag again. And now I've dropped another anchor with its handles, but the curve is this is the actual path. And then I drag again, and then I drag again. And as you drag, you can at that point move it around a bit to give it another position, right? And then you drag until you finally join them. So the final one that I joined, I clicked instead of clicking and dragging. So it became a hard anchor. So I'm going to Control Z and drag that last one again. It's just that so I'll pick that one up from there. And I need to redrag that one out. Click and drag. There we go. So that now all of them, even the final one, is a curved little line. When I'm done dropping anchors, maybe I want to drop another anchor here, drop another anchor somewhere else. Then I can go to my selection tool and begin to reshape it. Now, this pen tool has worked this way for the past, whatever, 20, 30 years that Illustrator has existed, even before it belonged to Adobe, because this program is a program that Adobe adopted and then called its own, but it originally, I'm trying to remember, suddenly I'm having a blank on the original name of Illustrator and who were the makers. It's been Adobe for so long that that name has finally dropped. My gray matter has decided it's not important enough and the name has dropped. But anyway, so this is the pen tool that has existed for millennia, let's say, exaggerating, for creating tools, but a new shape for creating shapes. But the curves were never that easy to make. Unless once you get good with it, you can do amazing things. But at first, it's a little bit hard to know how to make those tools. So there's a new tool in town. And I'm calling it new. For you guys, nothing is new. It's all the same because you've never used Illustrator. But for people who've been using Illustrator for a while, this tool is it's only been around for a couple of years now, which is the pen tool that's to the right of the pen tool. And it's called the curvature tool. Now the curvature tool, so many people complained about how to make curves with the pen tool, which, as you can see, was okay, but not so intuitive. So I'm going to leave this little shape that we made with curves with the regular pen tool aside for the moment. And I'm going to instead go ahead and click away to make sure nothing's selected and grab the curvature tool. And it works much more intuitively for curves. So it's a pen tool. See, it's also a pen tool, but it's made just for curves. So this time, instead of dropping things, you actually draw with it. You click and draw a curve. As you drop, let me show you that again. You click the first one, always you need to click as usual. But when you click on the next one, when you let go, that's when you begin to draw the curve. So it's a bit opposite as before. You drop and you drop two lines and you see a straight line. But then as you move your mouse away, and now I'm not dragging, I am in the air. My mouse is in the air now. And I'm dragging my mouse. Instead of with handles, I'm creating the curve by moving my mouse around, making it closer or further. So when I'm ready with the curve where I want it, I drop the next anchor and then I keep going. And so this line that I'm drawing is not set in stone by the handles, rather by how I set the path down. Does that make sense? So I'm going to keep drawing and then I'm going to join. Whoop, I didn't click on the final one. Join when it's 0. And now there's my shape. So to make curves, it is much easier to use the curvature tool, but it works differently. So in your brain, you have to know how to use one versus the other. And then some of you will end up preferring one than the other. It depends. I'm accustomed to the original one, of course, because I've used it for the last 25 years of my life. So I kind of prefer it still. But I have found that when I teach, that's why probably they made it. The curvature tool allows people to make much simpler and well-shaped curves than from start when you're a beginner. So the curvature tool, though, can also give us straight lines. So if you double click the curvature tool, it gives you straight lines. So you double click on it when you go back to it, So I double click, and then I double click with that tool, and double clicking turns them from curves into straight lines. So now I'm double clicking all my curves, getting them to be straights. And when I want to turn them back into curves, I double click again. And now I got curved lines. Okay. So when you have this curvature tool on and you made this with a curvature tool, you double click an anchor. Notice how these anchors are round circles instead of squares. So they're different kinds. And you double click them and you double click them and you double click them. You have now turned them into straight angle paths. So you can also make straight lines with a curvature tool, but the default setting as opposed to the other one is curves. And you have to convert the curves into straight angles by double clicking on them. And then to turn them back into curves, you double click them again. So for years, I've been teaching the pen tool. Then I started teaching the curvature tool. And then it became a place where both really are used. Sometimes you use one, sometimes you use the other. So this time, for the first time, in the last few years, I've been shifting between teaching only one or the other. So now I'm showing you both. And I hope to not confuse you. You guys seem like it's a small group to start with, and you're all really quick. You are really doing things very well. So I'm taking a leap of faith to show you both tools, and hope that this isn't confusing, but enhancing the fact that there's two tools to create things from scratch. And one of you guys is going to choose one over the other, and some of you will choose to use both. But they are distinctly different. Now, when I select that shape without the pen tool, and I just select it, right? And I want to work on that shape with the direct selection tool, those anchors work just like before with the handles. So always after it's created, you have to deal with those anchors and handles. So no matter it's been created with a curvature tool or not, you still need to know how to handle the anchors and the handles, because that is the way to modify them, right? So unless you always select a shape and go always back to the curvature tool to modify them, then how you modify them is by grabbing and dragging the set points. I still find that you need to know in the end how to modify with those handles, because that is the only way to get to modify it after it's been created. That's why I felt like when I taught only the curvature tool, people had a much harder time with the direct selection tool, which is when you really get to play around with the shape to really know how to make it work. So that's why I'm teaching you both. I think that in the end, the curvature helps you create the shape to start with easier. But I need you to know how to manipulate the shape with the white selection tool, which implies doing it the old way, the way the first curve did. It implies using those handles. Okay. So that's why I'm going to have you guys tell me at the end of class if you were okay learning both, or if you would have preferred me to keep it down to just one. Anyway.
Can I ask a question, Deanna?
Yes.
Does this program have a mirror tool by any chance?
You can create the mirror, but let me, okay. I'm talking about a reflection. You can create a reflection. What do you mean by mirror tool? Let me actually.
Well, on the opposite side of the page, you would have the image, but it would be flipped. And they have it in like CAD. CAD has that.
All right. So then, no, you can create a reflection of the shape. But there's no mirror tool. It's a reflect. That's why first I said that, and then I went, wait, let me ask you again what you want, and then I'll tell you. So yeah, and by the way, CAD and Illustrator have two very distinct, goals in mind that are different, and so they don't represent the same thing each other does. But let me use a shape that is very obviously non-symmetrical, like this one here. Okay. To show you how the reflection tool works, which by the way is something I was going to show you a little bit later today. I'll show it really quickly here. Okay. And then I want to keep working a little bit with curves and lines. But over here, you have a reflect tool, right? So I can just create that same shape, but I can have it go in the different direction. So right now, I'm going to reflect Oh, I didn't have it selected first. So there, that's the opposite. Okay. So
Okay.
it's a reflection of the first one, which I'm
Cool.
going to Command Z. There's the first one that I made. Okay. So I'll tell you more about that in a minute when we are going to
Okay.
work with all those reflect and rotate tools. But for now, I still want to stick to creating. So tell me, you guys, how does it feel to make a shape with the curvature tool?
Yeah, and I can ask.
Do you feel like you're in a bit more control? Yeah.
Yes.
For some reason, my pen tool.
I heard
my sound.
Yeah, your sound said for some reason my pen tool, and then I lost you.
My pen tool is not drawing.
Matt, you have two monitors or two connections. So go ahead and turn the sound off of one of them, but not the sound off as in mute necessarily, but go down to where you see the microphone, and there's the microphone that says mute or not mute. There's a little pointed arrow, and on one of them, go to that arrow, and then you'll see a menu come up, and it says leave computer audio. So on one of them, you need to leave computer audio completely, and then in the other one,
Okay,
there
that
you
should
go.
be better.
Yes, perfect. Okay. What was your question? Oh, now you're muted again, and you were fine before. So you had a question? I can hear you, Matt. What's your question? Oh, now you muted yourself, so I'm not sure. Now you're unmuted. Should I stop my share? Do you want to share something? I'm not sure you're hearing me. Matt, can you hear me? I think you were probably hearing through the computer that you disconnected the sound from, and now he can't hear me. That's what's happening. So I don't know if he's looking at the chat. Oh, never mind. I'll ask later. Hold on. Let me tell him. By disconnecting sound, you stopped hearing me. Go back to connect sound to hear me. There we go. Oh, to connect sound, not send. Okay, there he's going. You know, when someone looks at you blankly when you speak, that's when you notice that the sound is off. It's kind of weird. It's like, I have no idea what you're saying. All right, anyone else has a question while he's dealing with his sound issues? Nope. Okay, so then while he's doing that, let's try, see here I just made a circle, so I'm going to delete it. And to make a circle with the curvature tool, one mistake would be to drop many paths. You need to drop the least possible. So I'm going to go ahead and over here at about 1/4 of the distance away of a circle, I'm going to drop an anchor, and then I'm going to drop an anchor here again, and then I'm going to drop an anchor here again, and then another one here. And the curvature tool self-corrects to give you a pretty good circle, because I was not in a good path to draw a circle. I was actually coming up with an oval, but the curvature tool helped me because it's got that intuitiveness, well, not intuitive, it's AI, artificial intelligence, to figure out that I was trying to draw a circle. And so it helped me and created that circle that I was not on a good path to making. See? So on the other tool to create a circle is nigh impossible without markers. If I try to create a circle with the pen tool, I need some good guides to tell me exactly where to click, or my circle and will never turn into a really good circle. It'll look kind of like a circle and it won't really be a circle. Okay. You'll try all you want, but unless you set grids and markers, you rarely get a good circle, as you can see. But the curvature tool, on the other hand, handily gave me a circle without having to measure too many things. So it's a love-hate relationship, right? You basically want to learn to use both and figure out when you need one over another. When you really want to do something that you are making, your own shape, the pen tool is better. But when you want the help of the tool to round out and create what it is pretty sure you're trying to create, like it created a perfect egg shape there, a perfect circle there, because I was leading it to that. So it guessed, and so it kind of made that happen. Okay. So once again, no matter how you created them, if when you're done creating them, you go and select the direct selection tool, then you will see that I have just 4 anchors here. And each one, when I click on it, comes up with 2 anchors to handle it. If you select just the path, only 1 handle comes out from each anchor. The handle that handles that curve. So when you just select a path, the 2 little anchors that handle that path come up. But when I select the anchor, then 2 handles come up for these 2 plus those 2. So if I click on this anchor, I get the 2 handles to handle this curve plus the 2 handles that handle that curve. So you have to decide how you want to modify this shape. If you just click on the path and get 2 handles, then you are trying to modify the one curve, but by default, it's a seesaw situation. The other one also modifies. It's very hard, even when you're handling one handle, to modify one curve and not have the other one do its job as well, because it needs to create that thing to still be a smooth curve, right? So basically, here's the deal. When you want to do only one side for real, like you truly only want this side to move, you're going to mess that line of that curve. But sometimes that's what you want. You want to mess with the line of that curve, in which case you need to use one of your, I'm trying to see which one it is on this PC version. I believe it's this one. Yeah. So now I'm holding the Option key and I'm working only one handle. Okay. So now by working on the Option key, I am working on only one handle. And now I have completely altered. This curve is not a smooth curve anymore. It goes in and out. Okay. So what I did is the Option or Alt key lets you handle only one side of the curve. Do know that if you handle one side of the curve, you will forevermore have a not smooth curve going in. If you want a smooth curving in, going in, you always need to handle both sides. So I let go of my Option key and I handle now both sides. Sorry, on this one that has never been disconnected, I handle both sides, right? But on this one that was disconnected already, by hitting the Option, then I will always handle one side or the other side. So they won't function as a little seesaw shape anymore. Okay? So, but that's good if you're trying to create a heart shape, for example, where you need that dip. All right. So that is what you're doing. Now, if you ever want to make it back into a double-headed arrow, I mean, it is already an anchor, but you can click on that again with the Option key. Sorry, I created a double, which I wasn't intending to create a double. So let me undo that. I'll show you how to create the double in a second, because that is another thing I want to teach you, but I should have done that. So if you ever want to change the character of an anchor, you have to go back to dealing with it with the pen tool. And then you can go back to stretching out 2 handles and connecting those 2 again. Okay. So if I want these to go back to being connected, I need to recreate it with the pen tool like I showed you before. Once you're in your white handle tool, if you disconnect them to work with them separately, you can't ever really do anything other than keep them separate. So again, the white handle tool, the white selection tool, handles what's there. The path tool is the one that creates things and modifies the type of anchor that they are. All right. With that in hand, I have a couple of exercises that I want you guys to complete. And while you're completing them, some more questions will come up. But so remember the first day I told you to download some files if you're working on your own computer. So if you are working on your own computer, this is the time to figure out where you downloaded them, because we're going to open an existing file and we're going to start working on an exercise that's going to lead us through understanding how to use the pen tool a bit better. And then another set for the curvature tool. So save whatever place you're at. Those of you who are with me and VDI, we can just open it directly from here. Remember, those of you who are at home, you need to go find wherever you downloaded these files to start with. So let's go to File, Open. At home, go find this wherever you found it. For people who are with me, go to Google Drive file stream.
Deanna,
Yeah.
was it in an email that you sent us all the downloads?
No, those of you who are working at home had to go to Google Drive and download them. We did that the first and I repeated it on the second class. If you haven't done it yet, you have to go to Pipeline and download them. Let me get people working on it. People who are working on it, and then I'll go in and show, if you don't have the files, how to download them. Okay. So everyone who does know where their files are, or if you're in BDI, go to File, Open. For the rest of you guys, I'll tell you how to download them again, but first let me get people working. So go to Google Drive file stream, shared drives, Illustrator shared drive. This is for anyone who's on VDI. And then class files. And over here, I'm going to have us open the pen tool exercises begin. Pen tool exercises begin. You double click on that one. And this is the pen tool, not the curvature tool, but the pen tool, okay? It will work differently. So let me just show you how this works, and then I'll leave you a little bit to work on your own. There's 4 there or 6 in this one pages, the art boards, okay? And you progress from easier to more complicated shapes, all right? So the leftmost one, which I guess for some reason someone did and saved, is already done for you, which is not good. So go ahead and we're going to go to the first dartboard. I'm going to see control 0 to see the first dartboard. This one, select it and delete it. It's already been completed. I need to save my.
Oh, got it.
Okay, so now you go to your pen tool and it basically says click here, you click there, click here, you click there, click here, you click there, and then click here again. Repeat step 1, click here, there. So you've made your triangle. Okay, so it seems pretty simple, the first one, but it's to show you how to begin to follow instructions. Now in this one, it says press here and drag here, right? So it's the click and drag, press and drag all the way to that little star. Okay, when you let go, then you press here and you drag to this little star. Then you press here and you drag to this little star, and you press here and you drag to the little star. And then you repeat steps 1 and 2, which are press here and drag to the little star. And that's how you create your circle.
Press here and drag.
And we're only using our pen tool the whole time, right?
This exercise is all for the pen tool, because if you drag and release with the curvature tool, it doesn't work this way. The curvature tool, you would have to just click and click
Let's
and click
drag here.
and click and click without the drag. So it's fine, it's easy, but it's a different tool. Okay, so while you guys keep going, moving forward, I'm gonna be demonstrating each one in a minute, but first let me go get the people who don't have these files, how to get their files, okay?
I did download them, so I
Oh.
just forgot I downloaded them. So you don't have
cool.
to do that.
Okay, that's great. Cool. Does anyone else not have the assignment, the extras, the files anywhere? Okay, if you have the files, then that's good. So I'm on number 2 here, and when you click and drag, that's telling you how to follow the curve. Notice that I clicked and dragged and didn't leave it exactly in the right spot. So if I didn't leave it exactly in the right spot, my handles aren't really straight. When I finish my circle, it won't be a perfect circle. It'll be an almost perfect circle, which is why it's much harder to make a perfect circle with the pen tool. But if you can modify, like in this one, I find that I need to go a little bit past. And the cool, the really, the point where it all breaks down or not for you is when you get to the end, if you just click, you've deformed it. You've made a straight angle. You need to do it again. You need to join and drag so that you drag that one out as well. Okay, click and drag.
Z.
Now, this one I dread to do here on the computer. I'm trying it with you guys, but even in person, many times the only way to get people to get this one is to actually hover over them and see how their hands are moving and help them move their hands right. So I'm going to try to help you with it, but if it doesn't work, then I'm going to keep trying.
Deanna?
Yep.
It's Gigi. On the second page, I created a square, not a circle.
Okay, because you're clicking.
Okay.
So it's not click, it's click and drag. So the moment you put your mouse down, you have to drag it out. So remember how before I was showing you that you click and drag to make you click and drag. You click and
so
drag.
am I clicking on the little box first and then there's a star? I don't get
Yes,
that.
so you drag all the way to the star. So look at my mouse again. I'm going to make this bigger. Look at my example here. I'm going to make it as big as I can. So watch. I'm on the pen tool. I press here and I drag my hand to here. So this is where I let go.
Oh, let me
And that's what I'm doing with that is that's where I'm leaving the handle. Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna press here and drag my mouse to here before I let go.
Are you shifting at all or?
Nope.
Not really.
But you can. If you shift, then it helps because instead of being kind of straight, the shift really helps it be totally straight. So if you're good with shifting, then yes, shifting really does help. Okay. So now I'm dragging my mouse to here.
To here.
And then I am going to press here, drag my mouse. So the key is never to just click, it's a click and drag. Okay. And yes.
Are you clicking and dragging the whole time? I mean, continuously, or are you letting go at some point?
Continuously. When I let go, it's because I'm done with it. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
continuously dragging.
Okay, thank you.
And then the last one is the hardest one where I'm trying to join and it's so tempting to just click. And if you just click, that's what you get. So you need to click and drag again all the way out here.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And then if you stand back, hopefully, I'm going to control minus, you have created a circle. these markings aren't perfect. I need to fix it. This is a sample that's made, but it doesn't make a perfect circle. It makes an almost perfect circle, but not absolutely perfect. But that goes to show how hard it is to make a circle with a pen tool, which is why the curvature tool was invented. So I'm not against the curvature tool. I am just saying that you need to learn both so that then you can manipulate the shapes that were created with the curvature tool. Because I have, from years of experience of trying to teach this exercise, how hard it is for people to actually use the curvature tool to make a perfect circle. But
Mine's not working still.
okay, so I'm going to stop sharing mine because I know that this needs some one-on-one support. Go ahead
Okay.
and share your screen and I'll watch what you're doing. The only
Share.
thing that I can't see here, which I can see in person, is what you're doing with your mouse, which is really important, but I'll do my best to figure out what you're doing from
Okay.
experience.
Okay, so let me clear this. Control Z. Let's see. No, that's not working. My Z.
Share your screen first and then,
Oh, I thought I did.
no. It's, remember, it's share and then share again. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, select, yeah, use that tool and get rid of everything. Oh, I see what you're doing. You're using the pencil tool, not the pen tool.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
just delete those two things and go use the pen tool, that one. There you
this
go.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The before you, right before you switched, I had seen the tool that was selected was the pencil tool. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And the pencil tool will
Oh.
never do curves. Okay, so now click and drag.
Oh.
There you go. You just were in the wrong tool.
And so then now I drag it again to here.
No. Drag it in the start and let go. Release your mouse.
Let go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it says drag here and release. Okay. Now
then-
put your mouse there and now click and drag to the next star. And now let go of
Okay.
your mouse.
Okay.
Now move
And then I go
mouse
to here and I click and I drag to
star.
there.
Yeah.
And then I go here, click and drag.
Well, you didn't the center.
Yeah,
so
that was a little
it's
off.
okay. It's okay. It doesn't matter. The motion is what matters. And now here, be careful. Don't just click to close a circle. You need to click and drag again to the first star. So put your mouse right. You need to put your mouse right over the first one. You need to see the pen. No.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, you need to put, yeah, there. Now click and drag to the initial start, yeah.
Click and drag.
Drag your mouse to the right again to the first star. The same thing. It's like you need to do the same step to the right, to that little star under the word release. Yeah.
All right.
So
okay.
I know. So for those of you guys who are having one more thing that I want you to do, everyone stop wherever you're at for a second, because I want to show you one thing. When you're using the pen tool to make curves, when you click and drag out, that drag that you do, that's going to be the direction of the curve that follows next. So if I'm dragging to the right, as you can see, kind of 45-degree angles to the right here.
Wait, am I still sharing or
Oh,
you?
sorry, you're right.
Stop sharing. Okay, good. Thanks.
I forgot my shares.
Okay.
There we go. So guys, watch my screen for a minute because I really want you guys to understand this that I'm about to share with you, because this is pretty crucial. Because this is really how those handles work. So I'm going to go to this little neutral area up here. When I click and drag, so I'm dragging up like 40-degree angles to the right. You see that? See how my curve is kind of going in the direction of that drag? Now, if I click and drag in that same direction, so what happens to the bottom handle is it goes in the other direction. See? So every time I click and drag in one direction, I end up creating a little bit of a wave. Click and drag up, click and drag up, click and drag up, because the bottom handle sends the curve in the other direction. See? That's the click and drag up. So when I want to create a circle, and I'm going to undo these things, I have to click and drag in the direction I want to go, and then keep clicking and dragging down because I want to go in that direction, and keep clicking and dragging to the left, and then drag up, and then drag in that way. You always have to drag in the direction that you want your curve to go. So if I want to start moving up, I have to drag up and drag up. If I want to start moving down, I have to drag down and drag down and drag down. Does that make sense? You click and drag in the direction that you want your curve to go. So if I click and drag up and then I click and drag down the second time, then I'm making my curve go in the opposite direction of where I'm heading. My curve is heading up, but my mouse is heading down. You see that? Versus if I click and drag up now, my curve now heads down because I have inverted the positioning of it. So these exercises here are meant to teach you how to follow those. The direction that you drag makes a difference in what direction the whole thing will go. So I'm gonna, in this one here, click and drag down to here, right? And I release there. Now it says click here and release. What does click here and release means? It just means click, that's all. Now you know, what does click mean? Oh, you know what's the problem with this one? It's filling with white. And so when I fill with white, okay, let me undo that. Guys, you're filling with white, which means that your instructions are going to be covered up. So go to the white over here and say none. All right. So now you can do the exercise. And you click and drag. When it says press and drag, you create a curved anchor. When it just says click here, what you're doing is you're dropping a square ankle. And then it asks you to click and drag out the handle. Then click here, grab that handle and drag it out. Then click here, drag that handle and drag it out. So it's teaching you how to create this shape, which is a combination of curve and straight angle, curve and straight angle, curve and straight angle. Now, in order to disconnect this one to go on to another shape, you hit the escape key and there you go. Now you've finished a shape, okay? For those of you who moved forward and already did these shapes, I venture to say, for some of you are probably on page 6 by now or something, try to do it again on your own over here. Try to do the same shape on your own so that you begin to have your own muscle memory of what it means.
Yes.
Okay, so then you have to figure out where you need to drop and do your own things.
Drag there.
Don't go straight down, go all the way across to number 4 because press here and drag to here. Press here and drag to here. This is the typical wavy pattern. And then hit escape. It doesn't say that to be done with the shape. Press here and drag to release. Press here and drag to release. Press here and drag to release. Press here and drag to release.
Hey, habit of mine. Pages. For some reason. I only have 3 pages, it looks like. Oh, okay. No, I take it back. I just found them. Page 4.
So these are the shapes that you're expected to create. Okay. I'm going to make a bigger, fatter stroke on all of them so you can see them a bit better. And if yours don't look like this, then maybe you didn't follow the instructions exactly right. But this is the idea. This one's actually should be, it should be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's really the order of these in order of complication. I'm going to move these boards around next time. In fact, the circle is kind of the hardest. I'll actually move these boards around because next time I do this exercise, I want the boards to be in a different order. Oh. So I'm doing some stuff here while you guys are working. I'm just not too happy with the order of these boards. So I'm actually moving stuff around. I should do it when I can do it as a Mac because my shortcuts are driving me crazy here. Just gonna take this whole thing out. That to me, this represents more the order of complicatedness, so to say, of this assignment. Okay. How's it going? Any questions? I see people focused. If it's not working or if you need me to help you. If anyone has completed it, I have another level called Pen Advanced for you to keep working with. But if you're still working on this one, I'd like to know how to help you if it's not working. This is when it's frustrating that I can't walk behind you guys and see what you're doing. This is the time where I'm like, what's going on back there?
Can I ask a quick question, Deanna?
Of course, please use me. Yes.
Thanks. When I'm pressing and then dragging it to the anchor, am I dragging it to the center or the anchor? Does that make sense?
When you press, that's where you drop the anchor. When you drag, that's where you're dragging the handles for your curve.
Okay, yeah, I meant the first one.
So when you press down, that's the positioning of the anchor. The drag creates where you're dropping the handle, where you're stopping the handle. By doing that, you're kind of indicating the direction of your curve.
Okay, I don't need to go to like where it says center. I just go to what it's called anchor, right?
I don't
Sometimes
see the
it gives me the
word
choice
center.
between anchor or center.
Okay, I see what you mean. It's always the center. Okay, here's the thing. I know what you're talking about, and the center isn't something that you should ignore. In the sense that it's telling you that the instructions are made in such a way that you have a little box that you're supposed to click in the middle of it. When your mouse is truly clicking the center of that box, it says the word center. That means you are clicking in the center of that box. That's good to click right then. But it's just it's just here. Let me make a new artboard here for a second to show you what's happening. I made a new. Let me go to a new artboard. Okay, and then let me zoom into this. When you make a shape and you right now you have a little shape that's saying press here, right? That little gray box right now it's a little gray box that says press here, right? So when you actually go and with your mouse approach the center of that box, it lights up and says center. See, because your mouse is hovering over it and it tells you, oh, you're right at the center of it. See? Mm-hmm. So that's all that's doing. So the instruction here on the left is saying press. The instruction on the left is saying press here. Hold on, I lost my. And your mouse, by going to press where it's telling you to go press, is being told, oh, good, center, because you're hitting the center of the marker. That's all it's doing. Do you see the word center that's turning on here when I go to the center of that?
Yes.
If this was much bigger, even if it's big or small, it doesn't matter what size it is. Let me I'm rotating it instead of changing this. Oh, I hate when I lose my tools. When I get bigger for you guys to see, I lose my tools. Okay. So when I make this bigger, right? If I hover over this creature, nothing happens. But the moment I hover over the center of it, see the word center pops it? Mm-hmm. Now, all these little markings telling you to press here, all they are little boxes. And so the moment you right in the center of it is basically saying, yeah, you're hitting the exact center of it, which is, that's why it says anchor, path, and center. See? It's just telling you you're at the center of this.
And that's what we want, right?
Yeah, you want that, somewhere around there. So don't get too crazy about the word center. Just if you put your mouse kind of right in the middle of it, it'll work.
Deanna, do you know that, those 3 lines next to your picture? Those 3 dots on the right top. If you click that,
zoom, you mean?
You can make it bigger.
If you the 3 dots next to you're talking about zoom now?
Yeah. Like if you click that, it makes it bigger.
Well, no, the 3 dots don't make it bigger, but you can choose to pin my video so that my video gets bigger for you, but you'll just see my face. But when I'm sharing a screen, you don't have 3 dots. So you don't
it won't work. Okay.
The shared screen doesn't make it any bigger. What you can do to make the shared screen bigger is go up to where it says you are viewing Diana Musakio's screen. And there's a thing that says view options. And there you could say 100%, 500%, 300%, and then you can see what I'm showing bigger.
Oh, Oh, I can do it bigger. Okay. Where do
And
I'm on the view and then I go where? View options?
Where you see your view Indiana Musakio screen, a big green line button at the big thing at the top that says you view Indiana Musakio screen.
Yeah.
On the right, there's a box that says view option, no, a black thing that says view options. If you click
Yeah.
on that, you can change the size of what you are viewing.
Oh my gosh, this is so helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you basically get shown my mouse. So my mouse is here. So if you were trying to look at something else though, so if I'm moving my mouse over here and you're seeing this, that's fine. But if you were trying to see the other thing, you know, then you don't. So that's all.
Yeah,
I'm just,
thank
but it's
you.
fine. As long as my mouse is in the right place, then that works. If you say
My
fit to
eyes were
window,
hurting me. Great.
if you say fit to window, which is the default, you see everything I'm showing. When you start seeing bigger, then the screen follows my mouse.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I need to, when you do that, I need to be very sure as myself to have my mouse in the right spot for you to all be able to see everything. Okay, any questions about these shapes? How's it going, guys? Imagine I'm strolling behind your back and I'm seeing what you're doing. And now imagine I'm not, and that you need to tell me how you're doing. So give me a little yes on your participants to tell me you're doing great. Get off my back, let me work. Then I'll just stop asking and I'll just sit here and drink my coffee while you guys work. All right, basically most of you are telling me to just back off. I will.
Hey, Deanna.
Yes, Paul.
I was having fun here, recreating the shapes, and using. I'm so glad I found the grid. I would never say, "Let me try to make a grid," because I could lay down the grid. I could lay down the grid, the exact shape that I wanted, then slide that up, and then draw right over it. And it was like really blew my mind how perfect I could make it.
Because then you can really make the perfect circle, the perfect curve, the perfect whatever. So awesome, amazing. So yeah, there was a point to that grid, and it helps you as markers for the perfect positioning for your mouse. So if you ever want to share it a little bit to show people what you're talking about, because I know what you're talking about, maybe they don't, that would be really nice.
Oh, I've never done that. How do you? Sorry.
That's true. You're the non-sharer. Okay, I'm going to stop my share. Go down to a button, the green button that says share screen. And then once you press that green share screen button, then you have a screen in front of you. And then the bottom right of that screen, it says share in a blue button with white words. So the very, very right of that screen. It's the second button you need to press.
Mine just says cancel. Only cancel's highlighted.
So you're on a Chromebook, right? Yeah, but you can still share your screen. So go ahead and cancel for a second. Do you see the big screen? Okay.
Oh, I can share the. It looks like I share application and I can share Chrome.
Okay.
Let me try that.
There you go. And then you can see. Perfect.
Can you see it?
Yeah, perfect. I can.
Wow.
Okay, so guys. Yeah, so that's why when you share, you kind of stop seeing. But guys, look at his screen for a second. Remember the grid tool that I told you about this morning? He made a grid shape with 2 rows and 3 columns, and then used the corners of that grid to mark him the place he could do that. So he's overlapping them because in the bottom is the one that he did as an assignment. And then I said, push yourself to do it on your own, right? Or so I said. And then this is that. There you go. That's the shape that he's separating right now. That's the shape he made with today's tool. Can you point to the grid tool again so people can see what tool you're talking about? Right there. See on the left, the grid tool that I told you guys to use? He just made a grid and then used the corner points of that grid. Can you make it in a new artboard? Can you go to the right and create a new artboard and be a bit cleaner in what you're showing? Yeah, so go down to the plus sign. So look guys, one more time. He made a grid. right? So draw a grid. This is that tool I showed you earlier today. Cool. Now, he chose to have two, with the plus and bottom and right arrows, he chose 2 rows and 3 columns. Now, you go to the pen tool, and he uses those points as the place to mark it for himself.
So I have to lock it first. Otherwise it won't work.
Yeah. So now he clicks in there to start. Give it a bigger stroke. Clicks in there. So he uses a grid as the beginning point and makes his handle go all the way to the bottom. Then he clicks in there again, and then he can go all the way to the top. So he's using the grid as his go here, drag there, go here, drag there. You see what he's doing? And then later he can just get rid of that grid and he's left with the perfect curve. And that is a typical way to work with Illustrator, where you are, and now you need to actually, no, you need to grab the selection tool. You're in the path pen.
Ah!
Yeah, selection tool again. And then you select your grid. He unlocks it. I haven't shown you yet how to lock it. He deletes the grid and it disappears, and boom, you have the perfect shape. So the grid is just the way for you to see. And thank you so much for sharing that, because that's the whole point. So many times in Illustrator, you're doing things that are needing to be mathematically perfect. Gigi, you're talking about CAD, you know. I don't know, Paula, what your background or intention for Illustrator, but I had this person who took this class because they were doing a book about mandalas. And he was having a hard time creating his mandalas. And so he took my Illustrator class. I mean, his art was amazing, but he needed more exact symmetry to create shapes. And with Illustrator, with these grids in the back or with numbers, you can create things to be exactly symmetrical. And so he was using grids like that at the end to create the basic drawings for his mandala. He was doing a book of mandalas in black and white for people to fill in coloring, right? And but he had to create those outlines for the mandala, and he used grids just like you just showed to make sure that he was beginning and stopping at the right point. So anyway, I'm always amazed by the incredible applications you guys give to the tools that I teach you how to use. And I always love it if you share with me later the kind of things that you do. At some point I should have a little, I share with students what they do in their own class, but I should have a little showcase of just what people tell me they've done before. I've seen some amazing logos, some great stuff come out of. Anyway, the other day, someone who was in my Photoshop classes like, 10 years ago, he reached out to me to tell me how he has now, I had never heard of him again, ever. And then he wrote me a letter that had me in tears, just saying how crucial it was that when he was in college and didn't kind of know where to go, he took my classes, because then when he built his business, he was able to do so much of the marketing for it that he ended up, because of having learned how to do these things, that in the end now his business is marketing for other people. And it's just incredible, the stuff he was showing me. And I was just like, oh, he was just thinking, and I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. Anyway. So if you're ever out there doing great stuff, just send me a little, hey, look what I'm doing now. I really enjoy that. Okay. Guys, for those of you who have this down, I'll have it open another file. And for those of you who are still working on this, ask me for help. But if you're not asking me for help, which you're not, then that means you're probably ready to move to the next one. So open. And this time, you're already in the right place, because wherever you are is the place you had your exercises. The next one is Pen Exercise Advanced. There's 1 or 2 here that are repeats, and there's a couple that are a very different kind of shape. And these markers are actually more accurate. I like the instructions for this one a bit better. So this one, it's one artboard. It's one long artboard, but at first you have, a star and a circle. This circle is accurate. If you follow the instructions of this circle, it is actually accurate. These two are repeats from what you did before.
We
but
can't
then-
see you.
Oh. Every time someone else shares, I forget to reshare. I'm so sorry. So I just opened one. Let me close it again then. And what I just opened is File Open. And right under the pen tool exercises begin, there's pen tool exercises advanced. So if you open that one, then this one I like more because the instructions are very accurate. In fact, it gives you a little bit of a key here as to what the shapes that your path is going to take, right? In order to know when you have to add or delete or stuff like that, anchor points. And then the first one is a star, straight, 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 circle, circle. This circle is accurate. If you follow these instructions, you actually get a good circle. These two are repeats. So the first four you can do or not do, but because they're the same as what we've done if you want more practice. But then when you get to the bottom three, those are more advanced and it shows you a different thing to do. And it shows you more about how to change your anchor to be a straight or a curved ankle. So when you're done with this, you have a curve, straight, curve, straight, curve, straight. And this one is curve and then go back up, back up, back up. So this is like a little loop-de-doop. So these, and then this is like the swoosh, the Nike swoosh. This one takes some practice. These three would be the one that I want you to do next. When you're done with these three, I want you to actually work on tracing a little rubber ducky that I have where you on your own then have to do these movements to get a perfect little rubber ducky by doing the pen tool movements, okay? So I'm happy to keep helping with either of these two exercises. If you're stuck in any one of them and say it's not working and I'm going up and it's not going down or something, please let me know. But compare your shapes to mine. This is what it's supposed to look like. Sometimes people think they've done it, but they end up with a shape that's not this shape. Like you might end up with that one here, this one there, and then that means the exercise wasn't well done, just so you know. So please compare your shapes to mine before you think you're done. And then in this one, I'm going to make these now. So here you go up. And then you click here and you drag down. And then this one, okay, for those of you who did move to this one, let me show you. Because what you're going to do here is you're going to move the handle. So you click here and you drag up and let go. Then you click here and you drag down and let go and watch. You let go.
Mhm.
Then you do your Alt Option key to grab that handle and drag the handle up. Okay, so you're moving the handle in the midst of creating, and then you're able to create again the next shape. So then you grab the handle with the Alt Option tool that I showed you, which is basically what you're doing is you're altering, right? That fill, again, I'm in the problem, the same thing that my default is filling the shape. I need to not fill the shape. Before you start with this one, go back to your shape tool and get rid of your fill so that you can keep seeing the.
I have a question, Deanna.
Yes.
So once you hit escape key, you just ended the path?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what happens if I ended prematurely?
Okay, so if you ended prematurely, then what you need to do, so here, let me actually draw this somewhere that's not on top of instructions so it's easier to understand. I'm going to start a path in some blank area here so you can see it a bit better as a sample. Here we go. So if I'm in the midst of drawing a path and drawing another and drawing another, and suddenly I hit the escape key and I did not mean, see how I'm done? Then I can go back, hover over the last point and see how I get a slash under my, first of all, make sure you select it, right? It needs to be selected again. Grab your pen tool again and then hover over the last point and click again and that connects you again. And now you
Oh,
can
okay, okay.
drag
Thank
out the
you.
handle and keep going. So
Okay,
you
thank
pick it up again, similar as we did with the pencil. The moment
Okay.
you get close enough and you get that little line, that's
Mhm.
the join. That's the joiner.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Deanna,
Yes.
it's Gigi.
Yes.
Sometimes
Gigi.
when I click escape on, when I'm finishing the line of the project, it doesn't really escape. It just like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
hit escape twice. You might be in a inner selection mode, and when you hit it twice, it finally disconnects.
Okay.
Sometimes
Okay,
you need
thanks.
the second escape key. Depends on what viewer in or the path of the anchor or the handle. If you hit, by the time you hit twice, it will escape.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Deanna, it's
Yep.
Gigi again.
Yes, that's okay.
I'm trying to do the combining curves with straight lines, and I don't understand the instructions. I get through the step, I get to step 5, and I
Okay.
get confused.
All right, stop for a second. Did you do this one first?
What is it?
The one that comes before that? Because this will give you a handle on what you need to do there.
Oh, no, I didn't probably. Which, let's see, what number or what's it called?
It comes right, curves with points. It's to the left of.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that one first then.
It's a little bit, it's different, but it gives you a bit more of a handle on what to do with handles. And then the other one becomes a little bit easier.
All right, thanks.
For those of you who are breezing through these without problem, notice that right under if you file open, the one right underneath is the trace the rubber ducky. So use that one. But if you're still in this one and you're having questions about the swoosh or these guys, then please let me know.
Deanna, Miss Dorothy.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with the first one.
Okay. The
curves with corner points. And I
Okay.
don't know what you mean by a number 4, drag here to release, or drag to here and release. And
Yeah.
that says move handle. Oh, then
Yeah.
5 is
Exactly.
down option press.
Yeah. So
then
what? Yeah.
move
So I no. So watch. I reading the instructions won't give you any more clarity. So I'm going to move the corner so that you can see what our goal is. And I'm going to show you what it means by this handle. This is the tricky point. So watch for a second. I'm going to make this even a little bit bigger if I can. Okay, everyone who's on this one, the corner with points, this is a really tricky move. But if you think about it, what I've been teaching you, not so much, because remember that when you hold down the Alt and Option key, what you're doing is you're able to grab the handles. It's like you've got the direct selection tool. That's what the Alt or Option key gives you. It gives you the direct selection tool, which allows you to modify and move the handles, right? So keeping that in mind, if I click here first, let me actually, hold on, I have a point here I need to delete. Okay. So I'm going to make the stroke a bit bigger so it's a bit clearer that it's my stroke. And in fact, let me give it a color so it's clear that it's mine. Okay. So I click here and I drag here, right? That seems simple enough. Move over to the next one, drag here and release. So that's pretty simple. I let go. Now, watch. Now the goal is not where to set the curve. My curve is coming in the right way, but now I need to change its curve. So really what I need to do is, if this was curved, what I need to do is I need to force this angle to not be curved, but to become a straight angle so that it can get this sharp angle again. So remember how I told you to change a curve, you needed to hold the Option and Alt key. Now I grab the little handle that I left down here, Option and Alt key. Usually I have one hand that I can point to you, but now I don't. But look at right there, I left a little blue handle waiting right there in the center of that. Hold down the Option Alt key. See my mouse, Option Alt key turns into the arrow key. Pick up that handle and pick up the handle and drag it up like that. So basically I take the handle up there. So now when I let go of my handle, my curve, and so I did this so many times that I need to, but when I try to show you things, the important thing is that if I click and make another curve like that, remember the Alt and Alt key, what it gave me, Option Alt key gave me this tool. So now with this tool, which is the direct selection key, I'm going to go grab that handle and move it. That's what I'm doing, up like that, so that my next curve pulls up from that position again. So that's really all I'm doing, okay? I'm going to give, if you want the heart that has to come in and then has to go up again. So I create a curve, I create another curve, and now I need to grab that handle to move it out. But to grab that little handle there, I need to hold down the Option Alt key, grab the handle, move it up, and then my next curve is now changed because the handle changes direction. Now it's going up instead of down. See what I mean? So now, you need to hold down the Option key and grab that little tippy tip of a handle. The handles are round. The handles are not square. So now when you're here, you'll see that when you're done with the assignment, you'll end up having a little blue round handle right here. So you click up and see how I'm leaving a little blue handle right there? When I click down, I'm going to leave right now. There you go, a little blue handle right there. So now I hold down the Option key, grab that handle and take it up. And I'm not dropping it in the right spot, but there you go, take it up. So what you're doing is you're changing the path of that curve. By default, the curve wants to go up and down, up and down. See how now my next curve is going to be down? And for it to be up again, I need to grab that handle with the Option key, drag it up, and now see how my curve comes out pointing in the other direction? And now I'm able to direct it in the other direction again. So each time.
And do you click off it? You click off it for a second?
No, I mean, I don't click off it. My path is still held on. It goes with me.
Okay.
But by holding down the Alt and Option key, it seems to be that it clicks off it, because what I do, it's giving me a tool to grab that handle, move the handle up, move the handle up. Then when I let go of the Alt and Option key, then there we go. I was still connected to my, connected to my thing. And then I can, I need to move it out. Up again. And I've got my curve
Click here,
that I can send down again.
drag.
And then continue it 1 or 2 more times to see if you really got it. Try it 1 more time and see if, yep, there it's going. It's actually going in the right direction again. And escape. So what you're doing is you're trying to alter the direction of that path. It wants to go whoops, 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 whoops. It wants to go up and down, up and down. And you're like, no, 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 let me grab that handle. To grab the handle, you use the Alt option. You change the direction of that curve to go up again, and then you keep making your curves. And that's how you kind of keep altering it. Okay. If this is still not working, it is kind of complicated, then please share your screen and I can kind of stop you with when I see your mouse going the right or the wrong way. So does someone want to share their screen to complete this exercise? Dorothy, did that work for you, or do you want to share your screen?
I'm still working on it.
Do you want to share your screen so then when I can see you going?
I think I'm releasing at the wrong time and clicking at the wrong time. So, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to stop my share. Go ahead and share yours. I just want you to know, for everyone who's here, can you all stop working and listen what I'm about to say because it's important? Whenever I teach this class, always, invariably, so listen, some people decide Illustrator is too hard for me and they never come back. I beg you to not do that. I beg you to know that this is one tool of thousands of tools. And if you don't like this one, you never have to use it. And I'll teach you many other tools that'll be awesome for you. So don't think that because the pen tool is hard for you, it's not worth learning more about Illustrator. There are hundreds of other ways to use Illustrator, okay? But invariably, I see a drop of people who are frustrated in this pen tool. And I just want you to know, if you're frustrated with this pen tool, there's other ways to design in Illustrator and, you know, practice. By the way, first of all, Dorothy, you should make this much bigger because it's really hard to follow those instructions and do things right when you're not seeing very well. So go to your zoom tool or do Command Control plus, Command plus, I think you're on a Mac, to get to see that much better. Yeah. And then hold on your space bar to drag yourself to the right place. Yeah, much better. Okay. Now, so that's a real request I have to not assume. The day after this class, people come home and go, oh my God, this was the best thing ever. You've opened the world to me. And other people go, I will never use that tool again. And both reactions are perfectly fine. Okay. It's perfectly fine to never want to use the pen tool and you can still do a ton of work. All right. So Alessandra, I don't know when you wrote that. 1 second. Oh, you just wrote it. So you can't turn it into the shared drive. I have to make that for you. I said I was going to make it, but I haven't made it yet. I was thinking about that this morning. So I'll send you a link to it when it's ready. But right now you can still either email it to me or wait until I send you a link to the shared drive, because the shared drive right now doesn't allow you to put things into it. Okay. All right. So now, Dorothy, grab your pen tool.
Here.
Click and drag up and release right there. Perfect. Now, move over to the next little circle that says 3. Click there and drag down all the way to that little circle and let go. Okay. Now, hold down your Alt or Option key. Now, that exact same spot, click that little handle and drag it up, 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 like follow that curve, go to the right and drag it up, and put one on top of the other. Perfect. Let go of your mouse. Great. Now, you let go of your mouse, let go of your Option Alt key. Let go of that. Now you should have your pen tool again. So move your mouse. No, let go of your mouse and your hand. Let go of everything. Perfect. Now you have your pen tool again. Oh, no, you clicked. You didn't need to click. So let's undo that. Don't click again. So undo. Perfect. Now do the next curve, which means go to where it says 7 and click down, drag down. Perfect. Now, if you move your mouse loosely around now, move your mouse loosely around. You see how your curve go to the right wants to be on the bottom kind of curve. It tries to be a bottom curve and you need to change its angle to be a top curve. So you need to grab that little guy, but not with your pen tool, but with your arrow. To get that arrow, press down your Alt or Option key. There you go. Now grab that little handle, drag it up again, which is what changes the order. Yeah. Let go of both your mouse and your thing now. You have the pen tool again, and now move your mouse loosely and see how now your curve has changed its angle. It's heading up. Perfect. And now click and drag again. Hold down Alt and Option, grab that little handle, and pull it all the way up. There you go. So each time you grab a handle, you're altering the direction of your curve. Now leave everything again. And now go to the final one and then down again. And you did it. Now try one more on your own. Like make one more little curve. Yeah, there you go. You're doing it without me saying anything. Perfect. And now, yeah, see, you change the direction of your curve. And then you put your mouse down somewhere on the same straight white line and now drag down.
Fine.
Perfecto. Yay. You got it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. The only the concern here is that your shape is filling with white and it's erasing your instructions. So when you're done and you hit escape on this one, go and change your fill to nothing. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That way, the next view that you make, you won't have that problem. So I'm stopping your share now. Cool. Well done. Gigi?
Yes, can I share my screen too?
Of course.
Okay, thanks, because mine's not working completely. I do 2 right and then it doesn't work. So here's share. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah, let me just tell people that Matt is asking something in the chat. If anyone who's been purchasing the versions and stuff can read his question if you have an answer for him. All right, so Gigi, you're disconnected. You need to let's get rid of all this. Go grab your selection tool, delete everything because you're disconnected right now. So start from 0. Select all that, delete. Yeah. Now go up to your fill and say none. So we started already the right way. Say none to the fill.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Now go grab your pen tool and let's start. That's the pencil tool. So you need to click away because you've got the colors in the way. Yeah.
Okay.
There, grab your pen tool, which is the shortcut is P for pen tool. Okay. So you can click the P on your keyboard, you get the pen tool.
Oh, good.
All right. All right. Okay. So press down there and drag your handle there. Perfect.
Right.
Okay.
And then
now click on the next little, no. Yeah. Next, no, not there. That's a handle. You never want to click with the path tool on a handle. Okay. The path tool drops the anchors. The handles are handled with the arrow. So the anchors are the little square piece in between. That's the anchor. So now move to the one that says 3. So over to the right.
I click right now.
No. Did you click already?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So undo everything and start again because you've disconnected it. It needs to be a bit of a smoothish. Yeah, we're fine. All right. So click there and drag up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now go to where it says number 3, the circle to the right of number 3. No. You drag up there and release your mouse. Release your mouse. There we go.
Okay. I released it.
No, but since you clicked again, you're not getting
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Click here.
Click and drag up.
Wait. Z. Okay. Click here. Drag up.
And now let
Okay.
go of your mouse. Let go of your mouse.
Okay.
Now move your mouse without clicking. What's happening? Your arrow is not creating a path. I think you're doing a double click or something. Undo that again. And if it still doesn't work, I'm gonna go ahead and start from completely undo 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's click and drag up. Let go of your mouse now and move your mouse to the right. See, you're not getting the arrow isn't.
Oh, what's going on?
Was it working for you before? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's not about a color. Well, I mean, you
Okay.
can change its color if you want, but that's not the problem.
Okay. Let's do that.
You have another line there, that pink line. You have a path there. Go to the arrow key, the regular selection tool.
Are you talking about this one?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead and drag it. Oh, you see, I have a weird little point there. Go ahead and delete that. You have a little thing there getting in the way. There you go. Okay. Now
Okay.
grab your pen tool.
P.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Click and drag, and let's hope this time it works.
Okay.
Okay. Now move your mouse without clicking on anything again.
Wait, I
Move
let
your
go,
mouse.
right?
Let go. Mhm.
Okay.
And now move your mouse. See, I don't trust that you're just letting go. I think you're doing something with your mouse or something. I wish I could see your hands because that's when I usually can distinguish it.
Nothing.
Forget this exercise. Go to the go ahead, escape. Yeah, you're disconnected again. So go to the empty area there on the right of the title. Click and drag.
Oh, do I need to hold shift down or alt or anything?
No, just click and drag. Yeah. But you did that 2 or 3 times and you disconnected. So that's what's happening. You're doing like a weird click when you start. So delete that again. And now so now just, this is the first step is the one that's missing. So now, no shift, no anything, nothing. No. Back up into the empty space. You need to learn how to do the initial one. So into the empty space. See, you clicked. That's what you don't need to do. No clicking. Let go. No, you just clicked and that's what you do not need to do. So undo that. Okay, now listen. The moment you put your mouse down to click, keep it held down and drag. Do not do a single click. Just smoothly drag out. Yes. Let go. Now move your mouse. You're doing a little, let me try to do it on your screen. Sometime it might work. I want to see if it's your,
Maybe it's my settings. What about my snaps? No?
No. I requested remote control, so hold on.
Right, I got
Let
it.
me try it. Okay, so let me see. If I click and drag, there it goes. There it goes. So it's something you're doing. See how it's working fine. Watch my mouse. First of all, see how I have the asterisk to start with?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not clicking anywhere. If I move loosely my mouse, don't move yours.
I'm not touching anything.
Got it. So it was just a warning. So I'm moving my mouse loosely, okay? And the moment I click, I just drag immediately. I'm not like clicking and then dragging anything. I'm doing a smooth like pull out, like the moment I pull out. Then when I click again, that arrow, oh, you're right. It is working, but your arrow,
It's my guide, maybe? I don't know.
It's working, but your line that should be connected is not there. And yeah, maybe it is your guide. No, that's not what I wanted. Let me go back. I forget that this is a PC.
Yeah, because I fooled with the guides, the grids. So maybe.
Yeah. Preferences.
Perspective grids.
No.
Maybe.
No. It's got nothing to do with, but it is the guides. Not guides and grids. It's the smart guides. Yeah. Selection and anchor display. Anchor points, constrain anchor. It's one of these. Object selection by path. You got rid of something here. Anchor points and size 0. Let's see if that's, let me compare it to mine to see where my settings are. You've just gotten rid of the line that shows you these things, but I need to compare it to mine to find out where,
Okay.
what the setting is. So hold on, I'm
All right.
going to mine. Okay, so 3 pixels, Solaris, snap 2 points, control, highlight, anchor, 172 angle, enable rubber band for pen tool and cover band tool. The settings seem to be the same as mine.
Is there a way to reset it or?
Yeah, you can hit here, reset all the preferences, but are there any preferences that you like?
No, I think we can just reset it if it's causing troubles. Oh,
Transform pattern tiles, this one's missing. Disable.
I did something with the guides and grids and maybe that's what's happening.
Looking, I don't, you just changed their color, but that is not.
No.
Oh, show, well, no, show pixel grid, but that's not it, although I do have mine on. Okay, so here's the thing. If we go back to the general and reset to the basic settings, which is this one.
Okay.
Go to this one here, reset preferences. That'll take effect next time that you restart. Okay.
Okay.
So it won't help you right now, but for now I'll say okay. And then the next time you restart, because if you restart now, you'll have to, lose everything you're done. So I'm not going to say restart now.
Okay.
I'm going to just say cancel the next time. So here's the thing. It's working though, and this is the important part. It's just that you can't see the direction your curve is going in, which makes it confusing, but you can still do the assignment. Let me show you.
Okay.
When you click here, when you click and drag up here, and I'm just not being very precise, but there you go. When I do this, usually I would see my curve happening, so I'd know where to go, but you're not seeing it. But when I click and drag, then I see it. So just trust for now until you reset, right? Because this is the key point, which is where you need to now hold down your Alt key to turn this into something else and drag it up. Now, the thing is that where you need to trust is that you need to trust that that is going to happen the next time you drag, because it is working. It's just not, it's like it disconnects. I don't know why. And if it still doesn't work and you can't see it, then go ahead and turn off your Illustrator and open it up again. Then let's see if we fix that, because without seeing the curve, you don't know how to, position it. You need to see the curve, position it.
I mean, it worked, did work part of the time. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, probably some setting there, but resetting helps you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, so let me just show you again. If you're ever in a place where you're completely messed up with the settings and stuff, you go to General, you can click to reset preferences here, hit reset preferences, and then when you restart Illustrator, it'll all open up as if it was new, like none of any settings. Be careful, because if you have set your preferences, if you've set your Illustrator into a way that works really well for you, when you do that, you kind of erase all of that. Now your guys are just learning, so it's not that bad, right? You could probably only fix things you've messed up. But after a while, you don't really want to reset your preference too much, because you have to reset your program again. So, but just know that right now, when you restart it, it'll happen. So I'm going to say cancel myself, because I don't want to reset my preferences.
Where did you find that?
Okay, the preferences are under,
edit?
If you're a PC person,
Yeah.
edit, preferences, general.
Okay, thank you.
If you're a Mac person, it's over here, you'd see the word Adobe Illustrator, and it'd be right there. It would see Adobe preferences. All right. I'm looking at the time. See, how are we doing? Oh my God. Was this class supposed to finish 12:30? Oh, I was taking this to 1 p.m. and I forgot, because at 1:30 I start teaching Photoshop, and now I've eaten into my break and I forgot. Sorry. I really need in the morning to check my schedules. I have 2 classes that finish at 1:30 now, and this is confusing me. Okay. So let me just then quickly keep practicing with this one. And then for
Okay.
those of you who want to really test yourself as homework then, and then you can send it to me, go to right under the pen tool exercise. The last one is to trace the ducky. Open that one as homework. And then just, this is nothing to warn you or guide you. You set your own tool and you start creating your own, ways of tracing the duck. And let me just say that a curve, you should never put a path on a curve. Put your path when you're done with the curve and then drag and make that curve fit the right place. You know what I mean? Oh, it's filling with white, which is a bad idea. So here, and you drag until you get the thing to fit the curve. And then you let go. And so this is a long curve. So you go over here and you do this long thing. And so you keep dragging until the curve kind of fits the shape you want. You move it up and down until you get a nice little fit. And when you fit it nicely, then you let go. Okay. And so on and so forth. But again, I forgot to undo the automatic setting wants to fill, and that wouldn't work. Okay. Hit escape and have fun tracing the ducky or other shapes that you might want to trace and practice. So next time we're going to be actually doing tracing in a different way, but this is the hand tracing. All right. I'm going to finish the class because I totally went over. I so apologize. I should have noticed when people were signing out. Next time, those of you who sign out, let me know that the class is over. Okay, guys.
Thank
See you next week.
Okay.
Work hard. Have fun.
Thank you. Bye.